In front of them were mutilated cultivators. The scene was so bloody and unsightly. Even if Yi Mo was going to annihilate the Sai family, it wouldn't be this bloody. He would at most turn them into dust with a few lightning swords. In front of them were mutilated cultivators. The scene was so bloody and unsightly. Even if Yi Mo was going to annihilate the Sai family, it wouldn't be this bloody. He would at most turn them into dust with a few lightning swords. Most of the bodies had the word Sai on it. This wasn't it. The hall of the Sai family was completely destroyed. It was just a pile of rubble. Yi Mo scanned with spirit sense and there were dead people everywhere. Only did he reach the innermost yard was his spirit sense blocked by formation. This is the Sai family? Yi Mo asked coldly. Hu Shu dazed for a long time before answering with a pale face. Yes, Chen Bei, this is the Sai family. Yi Mo said to Xia Pinga, let's go in and see. Xia Pinga nodded and carefully followed Yi Mo into the broken door. Hu Shu didn't follow them, and after Yi Mo and Xia Pinga disappeared in the estate, he quickly left. Only 2 years later did he realize why Yi Mo left him alone. He was corroded by the grey mist and turned to dust. Would Sister Huang Ping have already been taken away? Xia Pinga asked nervously. Yi Mo shook his head. No, Sai family can find plenty of female cultivator who aren't very high talented. If the Sai family enemy is here, they wouldn't take away Huang Ping. Yi Mo walked to the defense formation at the backyard and casually threw out 2 formation flags. One secret door appeared and Yi Mo just walked in. There was a surprised exclamation when Yi Mo and Xia Pinga came in. Yi Mo also saw the person inside immediately. There were 2 women. The older one was Cauldron Filling State Level 7, the younger one was Hollow Spirit State Level 4. Both of them were very pretty, but the Hollow Spirit State girl was even better. This made Yi Mo think of the green-robed girl in West Extreme State. She was also extremely beautiful. The difference was that this young girl had a faint coldness and killing kai. Your formation skills and stealth cultivation method are quite nice. I believe you're the sect members of a big sect here. The Cauldron Filling State Level 7 scanned Yi Mo and then Xia Pinga and asked. Yi Mo felt the killing kai on them and knew that they were responsible for the slaughter outside. They killed people but did so in such a gruesome manner. Clearly they didn't think of others as living beings. Xia Pinga cowered behind Yi Mo. Yi Mo didn't answer her words. He scanned another place with a spirit sense barrier. He threw a metamorphic spirit sense blade over and immediately broke inside. He saw 3 pale-faced female cultivators including Huang Ping inside. Where is Jiang Yi? Yi Mo subconsciously asked Xia Pinga. Xia Pinga said, Martial brother Jiang Yi lost his life in a mission trying to protect sister Huang Ping. She met us on the way so we left together. Yi Mo sighed. Jiang Yi was too devoted to this Huang Ping. He lost an arm for her before and now he lost his life. Seeing Yi Mo ignoring her, the Cauldron Filling State female cultivator's face sunk and she sneered as though she was about to attack Yi Mo. But at this time, a shocking explosion sounded in the depth of the backyard. She quickly pulled the young girl and darted over. Yi Mo ignored the 2 and took Xia Pinga to the restriction and waved his hand. Immediately the restriction was gone. Sister Ping. Xia Pinga saw the dazed Huang Ping. The other 2 Foundation Establishment State female cultivators were also very dazed. Hearing Xia Pinga's voice, Huang Ping reacted and looked worried. Pinga, why are you here too? Xia Pinga pointed at Yi Mo. I met brother Yi at Ganyuan City and he came with me to save you. At this moment, Huang Ping finally recognized Yi Mo and wanted to get up and thank him. Yi Mo waved his hand. He scanned with spirit sense and knew there was poison in her body. Yi Mo took out 3 pills and let the 3 have them. After that, the other 2 thanked him greatly and left, but Yi Mo gave a storage ring to Xia Pinga. There are pills for your brother inside and some Foundation Establishment State cultivation pills. Save your brother and split the things inside and leave this city. Xia Pinga subconsciously asked, what about you brother Yi? I have some things to do. It's not convenient to bring you guys. If you guys have nowhere to go, you can go to Pei Hai City. Pei Hai Mo Yu is my business. Go with my jade card. Yi Mo gave a jade card to Xia Pinga. He still needed to find Yi Mo and go to the South Mountain Market. Then brother Yi, we'll be leaving first. Xia Pinga knew Yi Mo had his own business. Yi Mo nodded and said, "Your brother will recover immediately after eating that pill. Leave Ganyu City immediately. This isn't a good place." Yi Mo felt this city was strange. "Yes, brother Yi." The two agreed and left. Then, Yi Mo chased over to the two female cultivators from before. Seconds later, Yi Mo appeared before a defense formation. He threw out two formation flags and walked in. This was a huge hall and he saw the two girls from before. The only thing was that the cauldron filling state level 7 female cultivator had already lost an arm. The hollow spirit state girl held the cauldron filling state female cultivator with a pale face but stared closely at a sacrificial stage. There was a white-haired and white-bearded man. He looked very young but seemed very old. He was disaster transformation state level 1 but his Kai wasn't too stable. Clearly, he only reached this state less than a month ago. Judging from his messy and blood Kai, he probably cultivated a cruel cultivation method. The white-haired man seemed a little bewildered that he couldn't see Yi Mo's power. He just scanned Yi Mo and looked at the female cultivator. "Very well, you arrived perfectly. If it wasn't for your arm it would be very hard for me to finish cultivation. I thank you." Then, he licked his lips. "The reason I could reach disaster transformation state is because of the girl who came with you guys. The fresh and clean taste, I've been longing for that for a month. Today I can finally taste it again. You annihilated my Psi family and now you will offer yourself, it's a worthy deal. I'll kill this insect first." Then he grabbed over at Yi Mo. Yi Mo sneered. A mere disaster transformation state cultivator dared to attack him like this and pretended to use a truth realization state cultivation essence giant hand? Yi Mo sneered. A mere disaster transformation state cultivator dared to attack him like this and pretended to use a truth realization state cultivation essence giant hand? Only truth realization states could condense cultivation essence into a material cultivation essence giant hand. This disaster transformation state level 1 clearly couldn't do that, but he was using some special cultivation method to extend his hand and grab Yi Mo. Yi Mo had a strange feeling. It was like watching a monkey put on a show. Yi Mo sighed. Power was really everything in the cultivation realm. The disaster transformation state suddenly stopped his hand and thought of a very important thing. "How did you come in before?" His formation was barely a level 7 defense formation. The female cultivator could force her way in because she was cauldron filling state level 7. Yi Mo was this young, how could he get in? Was he a formation great master? No matter what, he had to ask this. Yi Mo ignored him and didn't stop. He walked towards where the disaster transformation state was. Seeing that Yi Mo dared to ignore him like this, the disaster transformation state was furious. He reached out his hand wanting to grab Yi Mo by the neck and fling him up. But his face soon turned to terror. He found that his hand couldn't move at all. He instantly knew things weren't good. He was disaster transformation state but he knew what domains were. He knew very clear that he was in Yi Mo's domain. Yi Mo could kill him like a chicken. He no longer had the expression of a powerful being, there was just terror and worry. He didn't think Yi Mo was using a stealth cultivation method anymore. Yi Mo was a truth realization state cultivator. Sweat trickled down his forehead and back uncontrollably. The female cultivator didn't notice this and said coldly, "Psi, let us go and things will be over. Otherwise, after I die, the Chu family will annihilate your soul." Yi Mo wanted to laugh. Was this woman dumb? Would the disaster transformation state let her go due to that? Clearly she had zero experience in the cultivation realm. But then, she noticed something was wrong. The disaster transformation state cultivator ignored her words and his hands were frozen in midair. What was this guy doing? Then, she noticed his face was full of horror and sweat. Before she could think of why, Yi Mo's real cultivation essence giant hand reached over and easily held him up in the air like a chicken. The female cultivator and the young girl completely froze. "You're a truth realization state Qian Bei?" the female cultivator subconsciously asked. If it wasn't some truth realization state Qian Bei, how could he easily grab a disaster transformation state cultivator using a cultivation essence giant hand? Yi Mo ignored her and grabbed the disaster transformation state by the neck before throwing him on the ground. What is the mist in the South Mountain Market? Did you bring it here? The disaster transformation state cultivator's bones were shattering, but he didn't dare to resist. The disaster transformation state really didn't understand why there was such a master in Ganyuan City. He had never heard of truth realization state masters in North Far State. He thought he could do whatever he wanted after reaching disaster transformation state in North Far State, but now he knew how unlucky he was. He didn't even consolidate his power and had offended a truth realization state cultivator. He even said he would crush him. Seeing that he didn't answer him, Emo released a blue flame. Do you want me to burn your essence spirit with heaven flame? Seeing this, the disaster transformation state screamed in terror, blue color mist lotus heartfire. He was a disaster transformation state cultivator, but he spent almost every living moment in cultivation. Almost all of the Psy family's resources were gathered on him, and yet he offended a truth realization state with heaven flame. I'll say it, a few years ago I got a ring in the Long Grave Valley. There was a heaven grade level 9 cultivation method and a seed. The female cultivator almost exclaimed, a heaven grade level 9 cultivation method. The entire cultivation realm might not even have one, but he got one. Emo didn't say anything. A heaven grade level 9 cultivation method was indeed one of a kind, but it was trash compared to his 3-birth chant. Seeing that Yemo's face was calm upon hearing this, the white-haired cultivator was shook even more. He thought Yemo would show greed after he said it, and he might be able to use it live. He could only continue. That cultivation method said the essence blood of clean female cultivators is needed to begin cultivation. Essence blood that is tainted by space-devouring grey mist is the best. The seed is the starting seed of the space-devouring grey mist. If I plant it in a place with many people, 10 years later it can be my place of cultivation resource. Then, Yemo asked coldly, does that cultivation method have the ability to devour space? The Psy cultivator shivered. He didn't know why Yemo would know, but he quickly said, yes, it has that effect. Yemo said calmly, attack me with full power. Huh. The disaster transformation state was overjoyed, but he stuttered, Chen Bei, WN Bei doesn't dare to. Yemo sneered. 3 seconds, if you don't then you won't need to again. Hearing this, the disaster transformation state flung himself up from the ground without hesitation. He raised his 2 hands and after pulling back he opened his mouth to bite. It was a small mouth, but using this cultivation method, it seemed to turn into a huge mouth. With a crack, the calm space suddenly started to have ripples as though something was being bitten. Yemo felt a huge suction force pulling him into the disaster transformation state's mouth. Yemo's face sunk. He was certain that what he had encountered before was this space-devouring cultivation method. But this disaster transformation state was too weak. Knowing this, Yemo didn't have the mood to keep watching this show. He released his cultivation essence giant hand and easily grabbed the disaster transformation state cultivator. Before he could beg for mercy, Mist Lotus Heartfire already turned the cultivator into dust. When the disaster transformation state cultivator had completely disappeared, the female cultivator reacted and looked at Yemo in disbelief and shock. She bowed with the young girl. North Far State Chu families WN Bei Chu Yun and niece Chu Yulon greet Chen Bei. Please forgive us for offending Chen Bei before. The female cultivator was very depressed. There were few high-level cultivators in North Far State. Cauldron Filling State wasn't that powerful, but it was quite hard to encounter someone stronger than her. Today, however, she encountered 2 and lost an arm. Yemo ignored her and scanned the hall with his spirit sense. He was certain there was nothing else here. However, the female cultivator said she was from the Chu family. Yemo ignored her and scanned the hall with his spirit sense. He was certain there was nothing else here. However, the female cultivator said she was from the Chu family. This reminded him of Chu Xiaoyi at West Extreme State's Heaven Domain. His jade slip said North Far State Chu Xiaoyi. Thinking about this, Yemo suddenly asked, your surname is Chu, do you know Chu Xiaoyi? Hearing this, the female cultivator bowed again. So Chen Bei has heard of ancestor. My ancestor is Chu Xiaoyi. Yemo sighed. She really was a descendant of Chu Xiaoyi. It seemed Chu family loved that they were from North Far State, but the spirit Kai here wasn't dense. However, He could give his remains to her. However, Chu Yun had killed a lot and was very gruesome. Mo didn't really like her. Mo just wanted to take out Chu Xiaoyi's coffin when Chu Yun asked respectfully, "Chen Bei is from North Far State?" Mo didn't like her, but on her ancestors' account he nodded. "Yes, I'm a cultivator of North Far State." Hearing this, Chu Yun said joyfully, "We North Far State finally have a second truth realization state cultivator. This is great. What is your name, Chen Bei?" Mo frowned and didn't speak. He didn't like her, so he didn't want to be connected to her. He would leave the remains to her and go do what he needs to do. Chu Yun noticed Mo's dislike of her and bowed again. "Chen Bei might think I'm too murderous and gruesome, but WN Bei had no choice, please understand. We the Chu family are the guardian family of North Far State. As long as North Far State exists for one day, we will protect North Far State with full power. Our ancestor Chu Xiaoyi's power was heavenly, and he wasn't in a rush to attain immortal ascension just so he could protect North Far State. Ever since our ancestor disappeared, his descendants didn't give up the protection of North Far State. We came to this city for the South Mountain Market." Hearing this, Mo realized why they kept saying North Far State Chu family. So they were the guardians of North Far State. Realizing this, Mo had respect for them. Seeing Mo's face ease down, Chu Yun breathed easy and continued, "Sai family is the scum of the cultivation realm. They slaughtered countless innocent cultivators and used their essence blood to cultivate evil cultivation methods. I came here to annihilate them this time and investigate the South Mountain Market. I didn't expect that this time a disciple of mine was taken by the Sai family and lost her life in this city." Mo looked at her in confusion. "Since you're attacking the Sai family, why did you bring a hollow spirit state disciple?" Chu Yun blushed. "Chen Bei probably heard of Kong Yi, right?" Mo nodded. "My ancestor Chu Xiaoyi had two disciples. One was Chu Xian, who stayed to protect North Far State, and another, Chu Jiuyu, was taken by my ancestor to South Peace State. Chu Xian left after my ancestor disappeared due to some things and also disappeared. Kong Yi is Chu Xian's personal disciple," Chu Yun said. Mo finally realized that Chu Jiuyu, whose fame stayed in South Peace State for 10,000 years, was Chu Xiaoyi's disciple. Chun Yun sighed. "Kong Yi is my martial ancestor and he's the only truth realization state cultivator of North Far State. His time is about to be up, so he's finding a new cultivator to guard North Far State for him. Thus, he goes around everywhere wanting to find a prodigious cultivator. Years passed and he had no progress until 10 years ago, he found a cultivator called Mo." Hearing this, Mo's face wasn't too natural. Chu Yun continued, "Kong Yi martial ancestor was just trying his luck and had a 100-year deal with Mo. He thought that if Mo could reach body condensation state in 100 years, he would take Mo to be his disciple. However, that Mo was extremely absurd. He reached cauldron filling state tertiary stage in 10 years or so. So, martial ancestor changed his mind and arranged 50 years with Mo. He wasted quite some power in the beast tide and his little time left was greatly reduced. He wanted to give Mo some important things when he's about to pass away." Mo was shook. No wonder Kong Yi didn't dare to fight Kai Xie. He might use up all his life in that battle. "I wasn't supposed to tell Chen Bei this, but Chen Bei is the only truth realization state cultivator of our North Far State. I'm afraid that Kong Yi Chen Bei doesn't know this, so I plead that Chen Bei would visit Kong Yi ancestor before he passes away," Chu Yun said. Mo nodded. "I was planning to visit Kong Yi Chen Bei anyways." Hearing Mo call Kong Yi Chen Bei, Chu Yun was surprised and joyful. One truth realization state cultivator calling another truth realization state cultivator Chen Bei could only be out of pure respect, no matter the age difference. She bowed and thanked him. "Thank you, Chen Bei, I don't know your name yet." Seeing that Mo didn't answer, she immediately knew Mo didn't want to say it, so she said, "WN Bei was too rude. The reason WN Bei brought Yulon and my disciple is to go visit Pil King Mo at Pei Hai City. I want my niece to be a disciple of Pil King Mo, so I brought them out." Mo felt awkward. He didn't expect this young girl wanted to be his disciple. He was definitely not going to take this disciple. If he did, he would have one extra burden. How could he do that? Thinking about this, Mo could only say, Yimo isn't at Pei High City and he won't take in disciples. You don't need to go. Qian Bei knows Yimo? Chu Yun asked in excitement. Yimo nodded helplessly. I've been to Pei High City. Yimo left as soon as he got there and it's unknown when he will be back. It's said that he's not good at teaching disciples, so you guys don't need to go. By the way, you don't need to go check out the mist either, it's very powerful. I will go see it, you guys can go back first. Yes Qian Bei, Chu Yun said. Yimo breathed easy and quickly took out a jade coffin. Chu Xiaoyi Qian Bei has unfortunately died. I saw his remains not long ago, so I brought them back. Since you're his descendant, you can have this. Chu Yun and Chu Yulon were dazed for a long time. Yimo passed the jade slip to her and she realized her ancestor didn't immortal ascension but had instead died. Moments later, Chu Yun and Chu Yulon both cried over the coffin. Yimo sighed, he knew her feelings. Their utmost sacred belief had collapsed. His distaste towards her was gone. No matter what, as a guardian family, the Chu family deserved respect. Chu Yun and Chu Yulon cried for a long time before walking to Yimo. This time, she kneeled down. Thank you, Qian Bei, for bringing back ancestors' remains. Yimo quickly pulled the two up and changed the subject. Do you know where Chu Xian went? Chu Yun nodded. Yes, Wn Bei knows a little. When our ancestor left for a long time, Chu Xian told Kong Yi that he would be going out and come back soon. According martial ancestor Kong Yi, Chu Xian went to enforce a seal but he never came back like ancestor. Yimo sighed. He was certain that Chu Xian died because the spirit body Shui Yufeng didn't see the next person to take his shift. Yimo thought of the half necklace and took out that white jade box immediately and gave it to Chu Yun. Your ancestor valued it a lot, take it too. I didn't touch anything inside your ancestor's storage ring. But I used a few immortal crystals. If I get the opportunity I'll give them back, but if I can't get any more, then sorry. Yimo thought of the half necklace and took out that white jade box immediately and gave it to Chu Yun. Your ancestor valued it a lot, take it too. I didn't touch anything inside your ancestor's storage ring. But I used a few immortal crystals. If I get the opportunity I'll give them back, but if I can't get any more, then sorry. Yimo said this but he didn't feel guilty at all. He found the storage ring, even if he didn't give it back to the Chu family it was his right. Plus, he sent back Chu Xiaoyi's remains. The reason he said he would give back immortal crystals to the Chu family was because he really respected someone like Chu Xiaoyi. Chu Xiaoyi's immortal crystals played a deciding factor for him reaching truth realization state. Otherwise, he was at most disaster transformation state primary stage or not even disaster transformation state. Hearing immortal crystals, Chu Yun's hands shook but she bowed. The Chu family is already very grateful that Qian Bei brought ancestors' remains back. How do we dare to let Qian Bei give back immortal crystals? Yimo nodded. Chu Yun thought Yimo didn't really mean it too. They were really had to get, and even if Yimo got immortal crystals, who would want to give them away? Yimo said casually, I looked at the jade box, it's half a necklace but it's well kept. It probably means a lot to your ancestor. Hearing this, Chu Yun's face looked weird and she opened it immediately. When she saw the half necklace she immediately shut the jade box and gave it back to Yimo. Qian Bei, this necklace belongs to ancestor, Wn Bei can't take it. Seeing this, Yimo asked in confusion, why? It belongs to your ancestor? You can't take it. Am I supposed to take it? Chu Yun's face was awkward. After a while she said, when ancestor left, ancestor's wife thought ancestor went to find another person so she left a family law. All those who come from the Chu family must kill the woman who wears this half necklace. Ancestor's wife left an image of the necklace and it's the necklace in Qian Bei's hands. No one in the Chu family dares to go against it, so Wn Bei doesn't dare to bring it back. Seeing this, Yimo realized that Chu Xiaoyi had a wife but had another woman. That woman wasn't on good terms with his wife and their conflict was great. Realizing this, Yimo put away the jade box. It didn't take up much space in his storage ring, so he didn't need to make it hard for Chu Yun. Yimo said, in that case, I'll be going. Seeing this, Chu Yun quickly said, Qian Bei, Chu family doesn't have a lot of people now and it's hard for us to protect North Far State. Kong Yi ancestor is near his death. Qian Bei is the only truth realization state cultivator of North Far State. Please don't forget to go Dang Ling. Kong Yi ancestor is living there alone. Yi Mo nodded. Give me a location later. I'll go there, but I'm not the only truth realization state of North Far State. Jade Woman sect's leader Tang Mengrao also reached truth realization state. I heard Shan Di also reached truth realization state, but I don't know where he is. What? Sect leader Tang reached truth realization state? How can that be? Shan Di also broke through too? Chu Yun asked in disbelief. Yi Mo nodded. Truth realization state is nothing. To be able to reach cauldron filling state level 7 in North Far State, it'll just be a matter of time before you reach truth realization state. Don't admire others, plus guarding North Far State isn't only Chu family's job. I think you should go do what you need to do, but if you can't do it alone, ask for help from fellow North Far State cultivators. No need to take it all on your family. Hearing this, Chu Yun seemed sad and shook her head. Thank you Qian Bei, but WN Bei knows I will never be able to reach truth realization state. If I'm lucky I can reach disaster transformation state. Are you lacking spirit stones or pills? The Chu family guarded the North Far State for more than 10,000 years. If they were lacking on cultivation resources, he was willing to help. Chu Yun nodded. Yes Qian Bei, the Chu family is wealthy, but after all these years we don't have much left. We don't even have enough spirit stones, much less pills. It's impossible. Plus there is no one in North Far State who can concoct truth spirit pills and disaster life pills. Yi Mo nodded and took out a spirit card and 3 jade bottles. Your Chu family did a lot of things for the North Far State. I also benefited from your ancestor. There are 100 million spirit stones here and a few pills. Go use them. I believe with your talent and these pills you can reach truth realization state in 2 to 3 centuries. As for guarding North Far State, I don't think there's a need to. 100 million spirit stones? Chu Yun's hand shook and pushed the card back to Yi Mo. Qian Bei, I can't take that many spirit stones. Yi Mo took out a few more speechlessly and said, I have a lot, just go use them. Chu Yun and Chu Yulon's eyes were spasming. This truth realization state Qian Bei was too wealthy. When Chu Yun opened the bottles, she almost dropped them. She saw the legendary disaster transformation pill, truth spirit pill, and disaster will pill. They were all precious amongst precious pills. They were all heaven grade level 8 or level 9 pills. Chu Yun knew these pills were more valuable than the 100 million spirit stones, but she couldn't give them up. Yi Mo knew what she thought and said casually, Don't worry, I took the immortal crystals of Chu family. I made the pills myself, go use them. Qian Bei is a level 9 pill king? Chu Yun was more shocked. Yi Mo smiled. Yes, I'm going. You don't need to go to Pei Hai City, go back and cultivate. Give me the location of Dan Ling. Yes Qian Bei, Chu Yun answered, but the shock was still in heart. A level 9 pill king. She heard Kong Yi ancestor say that there was no level 9 pill king in the entire Luo Yu continent. She didn't know when this Qian Bei would go to ancestor Kong Yi, but she had to go wait there. Their conversation was not to be missed. If Yi Mo knew what she thought, he would go visit Kong Yi immediately, he would expose himself. When they were about to leave, Chu Yun wanted to ask Yi Mo to take Chu Yulon as disciple many times, but she couldn't say it. Seeing the two leave, Yi Mo got on Blue Moon and headed to the South Mountain Market. Auntie, is there a way to repair your arm? Chu Yulon asked worriedly. Chu Yun sighed. Today I realized that even in North Far State there are many powerful people, but they don't come out usually like the Chu family. If it wasn't for that Qian Bei we would be dead. Fortune and calamity are entwined. I lost an arm but I gained the possibility of reaching truth realization state. Chu Yulon nodded but she asked, Auntie, that truth realization state Qian Bei really doesn't look old. How is he so powerful? Chu Yun thought before answering, fate is really hard to predict. Just like you reached Hollow Spirit State level 4 at younger than 30. Kong Yi ancestor said that this was considered to be prodigy amongst prodigies in the entire Luo Yu continent. However, If you didn't eat that 9-color lotus, you wouldn't be where you are now. How do you know that truth realization state Qian Bei doesn't have such fortune? Chu Yun thought before answering, fate is really hard to predict. Just like you reached hollow spirit state level 4 at younger than 30. Kong Yi ancestor said that this was considered to be prodigy amongst prodigies in the entire Luo Yu continent. However, if you didn't eat that 9-color lotus, you wouldn't be where you are now. How do you know that truth realization state Qian Bei doesn't have such fortune? Chu Yulon asked, Auntie, you mean that Qian Bei indeed isn't old but he has had fortune like me so he can reach truth realization state at such a young age? Chu Yun shook her head. I don't know if he's young or not, but to be able to easily take out disaster will pill and truth spirit pill, he clearly has had absurd fortune. Otherwise, no matter how talented he is, he can't become a pill king without spirit herbs for practice, especially a level 9 pill king. Since he has that many spirit herbs for practice to reach level 9 pill king, then it's normal if he has spirit herbs to improve his spirit root. She continued, that truth realization state Qian Bei wasn't surprised to see your power. It means either he has seen too many like you or he is such a prodigy himself. Auntie, should we still go to Pei High City? Chu Yulon asked. No, let's go to Ancestor Kong Yi. If that truth realization state Qian Bei is going there, I plan to beg him to take you in as disciple. Are you willing? Chu Yun asked. Chu Yulon asked in surprise, didn't Ancestor say I can be Yimo's disciple? Isn't it bad if I switch now? Chu Yun rolled her eyes. That's if you already are Yimo's disciple, but Yimo doesn't know we're going to Pei High City yet. Plus, even if we want to, we don't know if he wants to. Just tell me if you're willing. I will tell Ancestor about the rest. Of course I'm willing, Chu Yulon said without hesitation. Who wouldn't want to be the disciple of a truth realization state who was also a level 9 pill king? At this moment, Yimo was silently standing outside the South Mountain Market. A few years ago it was very busy, but now it was so quiet that even the sounds of insects were gone. There was just grey mist. Yimo looked at this and knew it was the same as the mist in the Herb Valley. But Yimo felt this mist was much weaker than the other one. His power was also much higher than before, so he didn't fear this mist at all. Shadowless was also much stronger than before, and Yimo wondered if he was still scared of this mist. Thinking about this, Yimo threw out Shadowless. Shadowless clearly knew this mist and flew towards it without hesitation. It opened its mouth and the mist gathered flowing into its mouth. Yimo knew that the mist was powerful, but it was only formed not long ago and there wasn't much spirit Kai supporting it here. There were still a few days before full moon, but there were fearless cultivators watching on the side. Yimo ignored them and walked into the mist. Those watching were dazed. This was the first time they saw someone walk into the mist not on a full moon. Coming in, Yimo immediately felt the mist wanted to suck his essence blood. He finally understood why those who walked in would turn into bones. Their essence blood and flesh was all being sucked away. Yimo saw Shadowless devouring happily and waved his hand, bringing it over unhappily. He knew that with this speed, half a month wasn't enough to devour it all. Yimo just waved out Mist Lotus Heartfire and used Heaven Flame 9 Suns. With this, an aqua sun hung in the air above the market. The mist seemed to begin to worry, but before it could flee, the aqua sun shot out countless beams that covered the entire mist. Sizzle *, the mist seemed to melt like snow. Those cultivators watching outside looked dazedly as the mist began to clear and that sun hung high in the air. They just realized that the young cultivator who went in wasn't retarded but a powerful being. He didn't come for wealth, he came to annihilate the mist. Yimo breathed easy. He was scared that Heaven Flame 9 Suns wouldn't be able to annihilate it and he would have to waste time letting Shadowless devour it. He had an uncomfortable feeling not removing the mist. Before he could breathe easy, he had an extremely bad sensation. It was silent killing intent. Without hesitation, Yimo extended out his domain and the octagonal cauldron hung above his hand. There was a hollow feeling and Yimo found his domain seemed weakened. Then, that weakened part of his domain disappeared out of thin air. This was Space Devour, but this was far weaker than the Space Devour of the Herb Valley. This couldn't even devour his domain. His domain reached out again and Yimo let out Zishu. Yimo immediately felt that being wanted to keep devouring his domain but couldn't do so anymore. This was the first time Yimo saw this phantom. He frowned. It looked too revolting. It was like a caterpillar but much larger. It was more than 10 meters long and there were dense antennae everywhere. It also had 9 necks but only 1 head. This was because the other 8 necks didn't have a head. The only head had 2 thin triangular eyes that stared at Yimo hatefully. Yimo thought of the legendary 9-headed bug. If this thing grew out all of its heads, wouldn't it be a 9-headed bug? Without hesitation, Yimo slashed out with Zishu. A purple beam flashed. The bug looked scared but it couldn't run away. With a sizzle, the purple beam sliced that head in half. A putrid smell came out. The blood was grey. A black thing flew out of the bug's body wanting to escape, but Yimo immediately let out Lightning Sword. Lightning Sword flashed and the black thing was disintegrated. At this moment, the market started to show slowly. The busy shops and prosperous streets were now ruins and filled with bones. Yimo took back his heaven flame. Yimo scanned out his spirit sense and there was nothing else but ruins. Yimo shook his head and looked at the disgusting bug. Yimo found that he didn't know this thing at all. At this moment, an extremely fast figure appeared in his spirit sense. It flew towards Yimo but he didn't move. He knew this person. This is 9-headed void-devouring bug, also called void-devouring yang. It also has saliva that is one of the most poisonous things in the cultivation realm. If you were touched by it, it would be almost impossible to save you, a familiar voice sounded. Yimo saluted with his fists. I didn't expect to meet sect leader Tang here, what a coincidence. Tang Mengaryo smiled and shook her head. I came to find you. What do you need me for sect leader Tang? Yimo asked in confusion. What do you need me for sect leader Tang? Yimo asked in confusion. Tang Mengaryo said dejectedly, I heard of Chendia's whereabouts. I was going to find her. I think I should tell you about it. Yimo frowned. Where is she? Ao Chendai wanted to ambush him and annihilate Mo Yu. If he finds her he wouldn't let her off. She's probably in 5-star sect Dual Heart Valley. Tang Mengaryo said dejectedly. Ao Chendai had been in her sect for 20 or so years. There were some feelings. She wanted to know if she was possessed before or after she came into her sect. How do you know? Yimo asked in confusion but Tang Mengaryo just sighed and didn't answer. Yimo knew this was something private so he didn't ask. Things here are done. I'll go with sect leader Tang to Dual Heart Valley. Tang Mengaryo nodded. By the way, sect leader Tang, you know this thing? Yimo pointed at the grey body. Tang Mengaryo immediately replied, that's right, I know it. It's the most terrifying bug in the cultivation realm, called 9-headed void-devouring bug. On the rare spirit bug ranking, some people rank it as first but some rank another spirit bug as first. There's this saying, not a spirit bug, not an immortal, not number 1 shadowless worm. Not a spirit bug but an immortal, 9-headed void-devouring bug won't be number 2. Yimo dazed, he heard of the first part. It was talking about his shadowless. Did Tang Mengaryo know of shadowless origin? She saw shadowless attack once. Does she know he had it? Then he looked at her expression but she didn't seem to know he had shadowless. Yimo thought and felt it was natural, shadowless attacked quickly each time. Before she could lock on with her spirit sense, shadowless was taken back. Yimo asked again, sect leader Tang, what does the saying mean? Tang Mengaryo explained, there's this most powerful thing in the cultivation realm. It's like a bug but not a bug. It's called shadowless devouring worm. The place it came from is very mysterious, no one knows. It's not even the immortal realm. But the shadowless worm can't be born in the cultivation realm. However, it can dominate the cultivation realm. It's said that shadowless worms appear in the mortal realms that doesn't support cultivation. It is born in pairs of eggs. Only very powerful beings can put shadowless worm eggs into the mortal realm to hatch. This appeared in the cultivation realm and was very powerful. Cultivation realm cultivators thought this was a new breed of spirit bug, but then they found that even the most powerful spirit bug had a huge difference to shadowless devouring worm, so they didn't list shadowless on there. Yimo nodded. Yimo even suspected that Chu Jiuyu brought Shadowless to Earth, but it was unverifiable. Tang Mengareo pointed at the dead bug body. This bug is very scary. It's the #1 powerful bug of the cultivation realm. Even immature Shadowless bug fears this thing. It's said this bug came from the immortal realm. Even in the immortal realm, high-level 9-headed void-devouring bug are very scary. But soon, people found that 9-headed void-devouring bug was countless times stronger than spirit bugs ranked after it. They weren't even comparable. Meanwhile, Shadowless took a long time to mature and was far from a match for 9-headed void-devouring bug before maturing. Thus came the second part of the saying. The 9-headed void-devouring bug wasn't treated as a spirit bug too. Tang Mengareo took out a jade slip and said, I knew from this jade slip. Strictly speaking, 9-headed void-devouring bug isn't a spirit bug. It formed with a human soul attached to it. Hearing this, he believed it. He had long been suspecting this spirit mist and space-devouring things were created by cultivators. Reading the jade slip, Yimo noticed it introduced things like the thing, but thing was more focused on spirit herb and ores, while this jade slip was focused on spirit bugs and spirit beast. Soon, Yimo found 9-headed void-devouring bug. 9-headed void-devouring bug, also called void-devouring yang, is a bug fed with cultivator soul. It can devour space and its saliva can corrode everything. The cultivator breeding this bug need to separate his soul into 10 or more pieces depending on the strength of his soul. One piece would be the main body and the other would be the cloned soul bodies. Each cloned soul would control a 9-headed void-devouring bug to grow up. When they all mature, the main body would bring the 9-headed void-devouring bug together. He would place the 9 soul clones together and they would merge, automatically becoming a true 9-headed void-devouring bug. If there were more than 9 clones, then the extra ones would be devoured. When the 9-headed void-devouring bug fused together 9 souls, it would have 9 heads and become invincible in the cultivation realm. Even the lowest grade 9-headed void-devouring bug can devour space and spit saliva that no cultivator can block. Even low-level immortals would have to run much less truth realization state peak stage cultivators. If 9-headed void-devouring bug reached higher levels, even golden immortals or high would be dead. The first time to breeding 9-headed void-devouring bug is very hard because many soul clones may be annihilated before maturing. If too many clones are annihilated, the 9-headed void-devouring bug would be greatly weakened, so they are usually bred at a place with no people or place with no powerful beings. Yimo took a cold breath in. This 9-headed void-devouring bug was too scary. When it first matures, even a low-level immortal crystals was no match for it. But he finally understood why it was being bred in the cultivation realm. It needed to devour the essence blood of cultivators, and if people dared to do this in the immortal realm, the soul clone would long be annihilated. So powerful! Yimo exclaimed. He had decided to annihilate the body in all herb mountain ranges no matter what. Just one was already that powerful. If that bred cultivator controlled all 9, how was he supposed to fight? Wait. Why didn't Chu Xiaoyi annihilate the one in all her mountain ranges? He sealed it instead. If it was something he could annihilate, how would Chu Xiaoyi not be able to? Thinking about this, Yimo shook. He finally realized what Chu Xiaoyi sealed. It wasn't a soul clone but the breeder of the 9-headed void-devouring bug. Tang Mengareo sighed. The 9-headed void-devouring bug is indeed terrifying. Yimo didn't explain to her. Luckily he disintegrated that black thing, or it might start growing in another place. Let's go Jewel Heart Valley. Yimo had decided to annihilate Ao Chendai first. He probably wasn't strong enough to take on the thing in all herb mountain ranges. Seeing Yimo and Tang Mengareo leave, those low-level cultivators on the side rushed into the market. Jewel Heart Valley, being a 5-star sect, has very good location. In North Far State, 5-star sect was considered high-level sect. Jewel Heart Valley, being a 5-star sect, has very good location. In North Far State, 5-star sect was considered high-level sect. What are they doing? Tang Mengareo looked at the cultivators outside Jewel Heart Valley. Yimo saw there were 2 groups of cultivators having a standoff as though they were about to fight at any time. Elder Wen, Do you think you're the only body condensation state in North Far State? Just because you reached body condensation state, you dare to bring your sect members to destroy our sect's defense formation. A sharp voice sounded. Ha ha ha, a bleak laughter sounded. Lepeng, when Fuchi, am a body condensation state, what can you do? I am going to attack your sect formation, what are you going to do? Yimo noticed that Lepeng was a white-faced middle-aged man who looked ordinary and was at Hollow Spirit State level 7. He had 2 Hollow Spirit State next to him, one Hollow Spirit State level 4 old man who was very tall, another Hollow Spirit State level 2 middle-aged female cultivator. Yimo looked at her and knew she might be Hai Tong's mother. This person is so domineering. Tang Mengareo said unhappily. At this moment the Hollow Spirit State level 2 female cultivator said coldly when Fuchi, we Jewel Heart Valley can't do anything to you but we're also a 5-star sect. Even if we fight and Jewel Heart Valley gets annihilated so what? Your Ghost Immortal sect has always been very domineering. It's not the first time you're going to annihilate sects. The 4-star sect Li Water sect was annihilated by you. 4-star sect Zheng Yuan Sword sect was also annihilated by you. You didn't even let 3-star sect Pill Herb sect go. The female cultivator sneered now that your Ghost Immortal sect reached 6 stars and so you want to find an excuse to annihilate us. No matter what, we Jewel Heart Valley will fight to the death. Yimo already had past conflict with Ghost Immortal sect but after his power grew so much he lost interest in revenge. But now, he encountered them again and they did things just the way they did in the past. At this moment, a Hollow Spirit State level 5 cultivator from Ghost Immortal sect said Elder Hai, we're not trying to trouble you, as long as you hand over the person we will leave immediately. Yimo's face suddenly changed, he remembered Herb Pill sect. That was Mu Iching's sect. He joined the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame tournament through their sect and he said he would go visit them. How could he resist hearing that the sect was annihilated? He dashed forward. The female cultivator was just about to speak but saw a young cultivator suddenly charge in. No one saw how he came so she ate her words. Yimo looked coldly at when Fuchi Herb Pill sect was annihilated by your sect. Seeing a young cultivator charge up to his face and ask him so rudel, why when Fuchi was furious but when he saw he couldn't see through Yimo's power, he stopped his temper and studied Yimo instead. That's right, the Herb Pill sect was annihilated Ghost Immortal sect. Specifically speaking when Chifu did it personally. The sect leader of Herb Pill sect Mu Iching offended Ghost Immortal sect. It said he offended a cultivator called Ji Jiyuan. When Chifu is Ji Jiyuan's master so he annihilated Herb Pill sect, the female cultivator seemed to realize who Yimo was and quickly said. When Chifu's face changed greatly. He also seemed to have realized who Yimo but before he could talk Yimo had bound him completely with his domain. Yimo's face was extremely cold. I killed Ji Jiyuan. I didn't go annihilate your sect but you dare to go annihilate Herb Pill sect. When Chifu was sweating, he heard Yimo was very powerful but now it seemed Yimo was countless times more powerful than what he heard. Yimo didn't even move and he couldn't move at all. None of the Ghost Immortal sect members behind him could move too. Seeing this power, the Jewel Heart Valley cultivators were shook. The sect leader and elders all came to greet Yimo. Yimo didn't seem to see them and just stared coldly at Wen Chifu. Chen Bei. Wen Chifu's tone was shaky. He was using his power to dominate the cultivators of Jewel Heart Valley but immediately, he got a taste of his own medicine. Speak, where are the Herb Pill sect people? Yimo didn't think Ghost Immortal sect would do this. This had completely nothing to do with Herb Pill sect. Chen Bei, I only killed Mu Iching. The rest all left. When Chifu said shakily. Hearing that Mu Iching died due to him, Yimo's killing intent exploded. He regret not taking the Herb Pill sect people to pay high. The Ghost Immortal sect members immediately felt an extreme pressure. After this pressure, there was an extreme squeezing force from the air around them. Thud, blood mist sprayed and these cultivators all turned to bloody mist. When Chifu's eyes went red but he couldn't move at all. Just when he wanted to speak, a huge lightning sword struck him and he turned to dust. Yimo breathed. If he wasn't going to find Ao Chendai he would immediately go Ghost Immortal sect and annihilate them. But now that he was here, He would find Ao Chendai first. The Dual Heart Valley cultivators were dazed. What power was this? A body condensation state was killed with one lightning sword? The other cultivators were dead without needing to do anything. Luckily Tang Mengarao came over now and all the cultivators knew Tang Mengarao. Yi Mo looked at Yi Mo and then said to Le Peng, I came with Yi Mo here to go see your Jewel Heart Lake, would that be convenient? How could Le Peng dare to say no? Of course, Wn Bei will accompany Chen Bei to there immediately. The female cultivator said I'll go with the two Chen Beis. Hearing this, Le Peng quickly said okay, that's where Hai Tong lives. It's perfect that she goes with two Chen Beis. Jewel Heart Lake wasn't the place with densest spirit Kai in the sect, but it was the most beautiful place. There was spirit sense barrier formation, but it couldn't stop Yi Mo's spirit sense. Yi Mo was unhappy, so he said nothing on the way. The three walked in and Yi Mo casually scanned with spirit sense. Aoqi Andy wasn't here, it was just Hai Tong sitting by the lake daisying. Xiao Tong, what are you doing? The female cultivator frowned. Hai Tong immediately saw Yi Mo and Tang Mengarao and flew over. Brother Yi, did you come to see me? The female cultivator's face changed drastically and quickly said, Xiao Tong, don't be so rude, this is Yi Mo Chen Bei and sect leader Tang of Jade Woman sect. Hai Tong just recognized Tang Mengarao only now and quickly greeted her. Tang Mengarao smiled and nodded. Hai Tong, where is the girl staying with you? Hai Tong quickly said, sect leader Tang, are you asking about sister Xiao Yi? She just left, I told her to stay a few days but she won't listen. Yi Mo was disappointed but then he frowned, why did Xiao Yi seem so familiar? Where did she go? Tang Mengarao asked. She wanted to see Ao Chendai. It was lucky she could find her here, if she was gone it would be hard to see her again. Where did she go? Tang Mengarao asked. She wanted to see Ao Chendai. It was lucky she could find her here, if she was gone it would be hard to see her again. Hai Tong shook her head. I don't know. Sister Xiao Yi didn't say, she only said she was busy. Yi Mo asked heavily, why did Xiao Yi come here? How long did she stay here? Was there anything strange about her? No matter how innocent Hai Tong was, she realized Yi Mo didn't come here for her but to investigate that Xiao Yi. She didn't dare to hide anything. Sister Xiao Yi seemed to be heavily injured. She stayed here for a month or so and left 2 days ago. As for strange things, Hai Tong thought for a while and said, she often dazes off alone and is always murmuring something to herself. Every time I asked her, she always says she's thinking. By the way, she seems to be very powerful but the necklace she wore was very low grade. It was only a spirit artifact and was broken in half. I gave her a better one but she didn't wear it. Hearing this, Yi Mo finally realized why the name felt strange. Xiao Yi was the last 2 words of Chu Xiaoyi. She had the half necklace, clearly meaning she was related to Chu Xiaoyi. Thinking about this, Yi Mo took out the jade box and took out half a necklace. Is it like this? Hai Tong saw this and said in shock, yes, it's that. How is it, brother Yi, you guys are? Hai Tong seemed to have understood something and gave the necklace back to Yi Mo after a long while. It was her indeed. Although Tang Mengarao was certain there was nothing between Yi Mo and Ao Chendai, seeing this, she still thought a little much. But she couldn't ask Yi Mo about this. Yi Mo fell silent and no one spoke. Yi Mo was thinking, since Ao Chendai was Chu Xiaoyi's other woman, why was she trying to destroy North Far State, conspiring with spirit beasts and starting trouble between the 3 disaster transformation state cultivators of North Far State? If he didn't come back to North Far State that time, North Far State might really be taken over by spirit beasts. Chu Xiaoyi was the guardian of North Far State. Ao Chendai shouldn't be acting against Chu Xiaoyi. Everything that happened at Mo Yu was planned by her. She went to seek revenge at Mo Yu at the perfect time, right when Ling Zhongtian went and invited Yi Yi of Wang Yu sect. She probably calculated Yi Yi's personality when she met him. This woman was too scary. She wanted to kill him because he ruined her plans, but another reason was because she possessed Ao Chendai so she would help her brother get revenge. Yi Mo shook his head. He didn't understand why Ao Chendai had such aggression towards North Far State human cultivators. Was it because Chu Xiaoyi mistreated her and she wanted to use this as revenge? This didn't make sense. How could this get revenge on Chu Xiaoyi? Even if she annihilated North Far State, Chu Xiaoyi was still Chu Xiaoyi. He would at most achieve immortal ascension. Immortal ascension? A spark shone in Yimo's brain. He began to realize why Ao Chendai did this. Chu Xiaoyi was the guardian of North Far State. Chu Yun said that for one day North Far State existed, for one day the Chu family would guard it. But what if human cultivators of North Far State were annihilated? Would the Chu family guard spirit beasts? Impossible. The powerful beings of Chu family would leave North Far State and achieve immortal ascension when they reach the level. Ao Chendai wanted to force Chu Xiaoyi into immortal ascension through this. In order to be with Chu Xiaoyi, she couldn't achieve immortal ascension too, so she could only use such means. Yimo shook his head. This idea was too crazy. Ao Chendai wouldn't be this crazy, right? Chu Xiaoyi already died at West Extreme State. He wouldn't come out no matter what. Yimo suddenly thought of another possibility. Chu Xiaoyi was dead, but Ao Chendai didn't know. Perhaps she was using this to force out Chu Xiaoyi. No matter what, Yimo felt the situation to be tricky due to Chu Xiaoyi's relationship with Ao Chendai. Should he kill her? He wanted to, but if he did, he would owe Chu Xiaoyi too much. Yimo suddenly asked, "Sect leader Tang, have you heard of Chu Xiaoyi?" Tang Mengareo shook her head. "No, what's wrong with him? Can a truth realization state peak stage cultivator live for more than 10,000 years?" Yimo asked again. Tang Mengareo thought of a long while before answering, "I don't know clearly if they can live for more than 10,000 years, but even if they could live for that long they wouldn't be able to stay in the cultivation realm because they have to achieve immortal ascension." Yimo nodded. So how was Ao Chendai so sure Chu Xiaoyi wasn't dead and could live till now even without achieving immortal ascension? If there was an extremely rare herb, then that was possible. The 7-color pan peach was the same level spirit fruit as immortal curl flower. Eating that would grant 10,000 years of life to a cultivator. This was rarer than immortal curl flower because it was usually eaten by spirit beasts before maturing. Increasing life was possible, but not ascending was hard. Yimo didn't keep thinking. Perhaps they had their own ways. "Yimo, let's leave if there's nothing else." Tang Mengareo could tell there was a lot on Yimo's mind. Yimo nodded and left Jewel Heart Valley with Tang Mengareo. The elders and sect leader sent them all the way until they couldn't see them before daring to leave. "Are you going to Ghost Immortal Sect?" Tang Mengareo asked. "I will go see Herb Pill Sect first. I was able to go to the Herb Plane due to their help. I have to get revenge for their sect leader who was killed due to me. The sect leader has a disciple and a daughter. I want to see if they are there. If they are, I will take them away." Yimo was dejected. Tang Mengareo sighed. "Are you leaving North Far State after this?" Yimo nodded but didn't say anything. Tang Mengareo quickly said, "Don't worry about Yimo, I will keep searching for her. Don't worry about Mo Yu either, I will help look out for it." "Thank you, sect leader Tang." Yimo saluted with his fists. "Farewell, we'll meet again." Then, Yimo released Blue Moon and disappeared. She looked at the direction Yimo disappeared and stood there for a long time before sighing. She thought of that day when Yimo hugged her and the feeling she had. After 15 minutes, Tang Mengareo shook her head and cast the thoughts aside. She released her flying cultivation artifact and flew in the opposite direction. She knew she lived in a different world than Yimo. Unless she could find Yimo, they would never see each other again. 4 hours later, Yimo appeared at a mountain range that had a decent spirit range. This was the Herb Pill Sect. This place was more ruined than the South Mountain Market. Seeing this, Yimo's fury was uncontrollable. He also felt regret. If it wasn't for him, Herb Pill Sect wouldn't be famous and the Ghost Immortal Sect wouldn't blame this on them. He scanned his spirit sense out. There were no cultivators here, only a few low-level spirit beasts. Yimo couldn't resist anymore and released Blue Moon. He was going to tear the mountain range of Ghost Immortal Sect apart. When Yimo arrived at Ghost Immortal Sect, he found that the cultivators there already all left and there was just an empty sect. When Yimo arrived at Ghost Immortal Sect, He found that the cultivators there already all left and there was just an empty sect. Its location was better than Jewel Heart Valley and there was an incomplete low-grade spirit range. This was top-level cultivation environment in the North Far State. Yimo didn't have the intention to hunt the rest of the sect members, the main culprit when Fuchi was dead. With his truth realization state power, he easily stamped the sect grounds and those extremely tall peaks were destroyed. 15 minutes later, Yimo left the Ghost Immortal sect. The once very famous Ghost Immortal sect was stamped to the ground due to annihilating a 3-star sect. The Ghost Immortal sect members escaped, but no one dared to say he came from Ghost Immortal sect. After annihilating the Ghost Immortal sect, Yimo kept searching for Yimo and started looking for Mu He and Lu Ming. Half a month later, Yimo found nothing. When he was extremely disappointed, he arrived at Kong Yi's place. He now knew that Kong Yi lived at the highest peak in North Far State. At the top there were the words, Hui Dang Ling Peak. Looking at these words, Yimo knew Kong Yi didn't write it. He can't imagine Chu Xiaoyi writing this, but other than, there was no one who Yimo knew could leave this behind. Yimo stood before the words for a long time and just when he wanted to go top the peak, another flying ray came over. Yimo immediately recognized who it was. It was Shan Di. He was able to escape Yin Shu. It's you. Shan Di neared and recognized Yimo. When he saw that Yimo was truth realization state level 1, he couldn't hide the shock in his eyes anymore. After a long while, he asked, "You're already truth realization state?" Yimo glanced at him coldly and didn't reply. Clearly he was invited here by Kong Yi too. Shan Di was joyful when he saw Yimo because he long wanted to teach him a lesson, but now he was hesitant. Yimo reached truth realization state in such a short time. It was eerie but not impossible. It was because Yimo got 3 low-grade immortal crystals. He didn't know the cultivation effect of LW immortal crystals. And, when Yimo was cauldron filling state, he didn't fear his disaster transformation state level 9. If Yimo really reached truth realization state, then he probably was no match for Yimo despite being truth realization state. Realizing this, Shan Di granted and wanted to go up. But Yimo suddenly stopped in front of him and said calmly, "Sect leader Shan, why are you leaving when you see me? Aren't you going to get revenge for your disciple Yi? What are you going to do?" Seeing this, Shan Di's heart sunk. He immediately knew Yimo was really truth realization state and he was certain he was no match for Yimo. Shan Di quickly said again, "Yimo, my disciple Yi offended your Mo Yu and you've killed him. I didn't go get revenge, what else do you want?" Shan Di was backing down, but Yimo said calmly, "Sect leader Shan, what did I tell you when I left Pei Hai? You took my spirit recovery pill but you didn't do anything. Instead you help people attack my Mo Yu. What do you think I want to do?" Shan Di's heart sunk and he knew things wouldn't be settled easily today. He took out his fire rune mirror and said, "Yimo, Yi is my disciple, but how can I know everything that he does? Plus, if it wasn't for my sect protecting Mo Yu, it would have long been annihilated by the Black and White Pill King or the Ghost Immortal sect cultivators. Why don't you mention that?" Before Yimo could speak he heard Kong Yi's voice, "Haha, Yimo, you're here, sect leader, so are you. Come up together then." Hearing this, Shan Di put away the mirror and went up instead. Yimo wanted to teach Shan Di a lesson, but it wasn't convenient here. Plus Shan Di wasn't completely wrong too. When Yimo reached the peak, the restriction was open. The building made Yimo feel very strange. This was where Chu Xiaoyi lived. He thought there would be some moderate buildings, but there was just a simple bamboo room and in front of it was an empty space with a stone table and chair. Yimo was sitting on a stone chair and he smiled, "Sect leader Shan, Yimo, please have a seat." As soon as he sat down, Yimo felt awkward. The people carrying tea out were Chu Yun and Chu Yulon. His lie was exposed. When Chu Yun put the tea on the table, she walked up to Yimo and bowed. Wan Bei didn't know Qian Bei was Yimo, sorry. Then, she went to greet Yimo. Clearly, Yimo had much higher status in her heart than Yimo. But when Chu Yulon realized Yimo was the Qian Bei they met, she dazed and realized to greet him after a long while. Yimo nodded. Kong Yi laughed. Great, I didn't think before my death both of you can reach truth realization state. This is great. The two girls just realized that Shan Di also reached truth realization state and were very shocked. Shan Di got up and saluted with his fists Kongyi Qianbei. Only after reaching truth realization state did I know there was Qianbei protecting North Far State, otherwise, we would have long disappeared. Kongyi nodded. I didn't expect that after you sect leader Tang also reached truth realization state, North Far State is safe. Shan Di asked in shock. Kongyi Qianbei, martial sister Tang also reached truth realization state? Kongyi smiled. Yi Mo brought this news. I guessed that the Qianbei in Chu Yun's words was Yi Mo, and it is him indeed now, haha. Kongyi looked at Yi Mo. Yi Mo, did you kill Heartless Si Kaixie? Yi Mo immediately answered yes. When I came back to North Far State, I saw him, so I killed him. Kongyi nodded. His truth realization state level 2 and you can kill him. Clearly your cultivation method is quite powerful. Shan Di was full of shock. Yi Mo just reached truth realization state and he could kill truth realization state level 2 beast cultivator. Wouldn't it be even easier to kill him? After a long while, Kongyi asked. Yi Mo, where did you get martial ancestors' remains from? Yi Mo replied, in West Extreme State Heaven Domains. Kongyi nodded and said to the two with sect leader Tang, you three are the strongest in North Far State. Kaixie is dead and North Far State should be safe for a few hundred years. It's perfect that Yi Mo came today. I will be leaving North Far State soon. I have a small world. I want to give it to one of you before I leave. I hope the person who takes it will offer some power to North Far State before immortal ascension. Hearing this, Yi Mo was fine, but Shan Di seemed very aspiring. Chu Yun's heart was shaking hearing this, wondering why the martial ancestor didn't give it to her. Yi Mo didn't understand why Kongyi was giving this to someone else instead of the Chu family, but he said Kongyi Qianbei, Wen will be leaving North Far State sooner or later. I can't take it. With this, even Kongyi looked at him in shock. There was a truth realization state cultivator who could reject small world. This was incomprehensible. Yi Mo had golden page world. He wouldn't care about this small world, but Shan Di does. He quickly got up and said Kongyi Qianbei, no matter what, as long as Wen is in North Far State for one day I will guard it for one day. Yi Mo had golden page world. He wouldn't care about this small world, but Shan Di does. He quickly got up and said Kongyi Qianbei, no matter what, as long as Wen is in North Far State for one day I will guard it for one day. Kongyi looked at Yi Mo and then Shan Di and nodded okay. Then, he asked Yi Mo, I heard you say that guardians were unnecessary? Yi Mo didn't answer and instead asked Kongyi Qianbei, as the guardian family of North Far State, the Chu family, are you the strongest? Or other than you, Chu Yun? Kongyi said sadly indeed, the Chu family has declined, it's very hard that there being this guardian. Yi Mo smiled. Existence is reason. It's good that there's a guarding for this world, but this isn't what the world needs. Plus, Kongyi Qianbei, you still have some people willing to listen to you, but after you leave, who would listen to Chu Yun? Kongyi nodded. That's right, you're very right. The guardian indeed no longer needs to exist. He knew that Yi Mo meant that regardless if North Far State was dominated by human cultivators or beast cultivator, it was unavoidable. It wasn't something that one man's power could change. Even if someone could change it for 100 years, can he changed it for thousands or 10,000 years? Shan Di asked in shock. Kongyi Qianbei, so the North Far State guardians really exist? Kongyi Qianbei is a guardian? Kongyi nodded sadly. Yes, so many years and now I'm about to die. This guardian doesn't live up to its name. So, Shan Di, I will give the small world to you. When you leave North Far State, give it to another person. North Far State doesn't need guardian, but it can't not have a leader. Yi Mo finally realized why Kongyi didn't give the small world to Chu Yun. He had long wanted Chu family to break free from this guardian title. Let the guardian be the strongest of each generation or the one with the greatest calling. Shan Di was the best choice without hesitation. Shan Di realized what Kongyi meant and got up. Shan Di will not betray Qianbei's will. No matter what, I will offer my power to North Far State. Yi Mo looked down on Shan Di's character, but he probably spoke the truth. He used a lot of effort for the beast tide all these years. Kong Yi took out a storage ring and gave to Shan Di. This storage ring is a small world, you can spirit control it. Yes. Shan Di took the small world excitedly. If he wasn't here, he would want to spirit control it immediately. Kong Yi nodded. The Chu family has guarded North Far State for more than 10,000 years, even if they're to no longer be guardians, the entire North Far State cultivators need to be notified. You can do this. Shan Di quickly said. Wn Bei knows. Even if Kong Yi didn't say this, Shan Di would do this. As one, this could unite the hearts of North Far State and also bring up his status. After all, he was the successor of Kong Yi. Chu Yun finally realized why martial ancestor Kong Yi didn't give the small world to them. It was to let the Chu family break free, and perhaps only so would the people of Chu family be able to pursue their own Tao. Thinking that martial ancestor Kong Yi didn't have long to live, Chu Yun felt sad. Yi Mo sighed. Kong Yi's Kai was weak, he clearly can't even last 50 years. It was useless even if he had top-grade 60-year pills for him. Unless there was 7-colored pan peach, there was no other way to help Kong Yi. Kong Yi said to Shan Di sect leader Shan, go arrange with sect leader Tang to do this. Shan Di wanted to leave as soon as possible now. He felt uncomfortable staying with Yi Mo. Now that Kong Yi said this, he quickly got up and said yes, Shan Di will go, Qianbei take care. After Shan Di left, Kong Yi said, I'm going to West Extreme State to find out why martial ancestor went there. We might never meet again after this. There isn't a lot of people left in the Chu family and the direct line only has a few people left. Yulon's talent is quite good, if possible I want you to take her to South Peace State. If she can immortal ascension, I won't feel guilty to the Chu family ancestors. Chu Yulon said very obediently. Now martial Uncle Yi, please take me as your disciple. Her tone wasn't cold like when she first saw Yi Mo, she looked hopingly at Yi Mo as though fearing Yi Mo would say no. Yi Mo's head ached, he thought for a long while before saying I can take you in as a disciple but I have my things. Can you stay at the Chu family to cultivate? I believe there are good hidden places with great formation in the Chu family, right? Seeing her in a daze, Yi Mo could only add if one day you reach truth realization state, you can come find me at Pei Hai City. Chu Yun said dazedly after a while. How can Yulon reach truth realization state here? Yi Mo smiled. She can with these. Then, he took out a storage ring and gave it to Chu Yun. He needed to find Yi Mo, he didn't want to take Chu Yulon everywhere. Plus, he didn't have the effort to teach a disciple. The Chu family cultivation method is definitely really good, he just needed to supply her with some cultivation resources. Seeing Yi Mo's rejection, Chu Yun didn't have the mood to check the storage ring. She still wanted to say something but Kong Yi said it's fine, staying here to cultivate is not a bad thing. Yi Mo knew that Kong Yi told him to come here for the small world. Now that this was resolved, Kong Yi probably didn't have anything else to sow. He got up to say goodbye. After Yi Mo left, Chu Yun asked in confusion, martial ancestor, didn't you want Yulon to be Yi Mo's disciple last time? Now that Yi Mo came, Yi Mo smiled. What's the purpose of Yulon being his disciple? Of course, the hope to reach truth realization state and ascend into the immortal realm and find the ancestors of Chu family. Chu Yun said. Then look at what Yi Mo gave. Kong Yi said. Chu Yun scanned the storage ring with her spirit sense and opened her mouth in shock. Half a month later, Yi Mo went back to Pei Hai City unhappily. He had searched the entire North Far State but didn't find anything about YIMO. Seeing Yi Mo's sadness, Song Yangzhu came to comfort her. They stayed at Pei Hai for another half a month before leaving. Yi Mo left with Su Jingguan, Song Yangzhu Yi Ling, Li Yuqian, Ji Ling Tengyi, Bian Fengta and Meng Hanan and them. Other than the Mo Yu people, the Pei Hai City Lord and them also came to send them off. People from the Jade Woman sect, Immortal Herb Valley as well as the sect leaders of most big sects came. Even Shan Di sent people over. After bidding farewell, Blue Moon disappeared into the Heartless Sea in a blue blur. Blue Moon, being a half-immortal artifact, was faster than a comet on the Heartless Sea. A month later, Blue Moon had gone nearly 1/3 of the way. If it was some extreme-grade cultivation artifact, this 1/3 would take 7 or 8 months. Blue Moon, being a half-immortal artifact, was faster than a comet on the Heartless Sea. A month later, Blue Moon had gone nearly 1/3 of the way. If it was some extreme-grade cultivation artifact, this 1/3 would take 7 or 8 months. Meng Hanan stood aboard Blue Moon and sighed. With Blue Moon, even a Foundation establishment state might dare to cross Heartless Sea. Who can catch up with this speed? Meng Hanan exaggerated a little, but this was true. However, Foundation establishment state wouldn't be able to have that speed. With this speed, everyone didn't want to cultivate and just watched the sea view. After all, not any cultivator can cross the Heartless Sea. Who knows when they would be crossing the Heartless Sea next? Today, Meng Hanan, Su Jingwen, and Yi Ling were chatting freely, and Yi Mo was discussing formation with Jilnig, but Blue Moon suddenly shook violently. This was the first time this happened. Yi Mo scanned his spirit sense out and his face changed immediately. It's Seaquake. Meng Hanan said first. Seaquake was different to earthquake. Not only did the huge waves roar, but even the space tens of kilometers above is very shaky. The space vibrations may even kickstart space fissures and space tears. If flying magic artifact encounters space tears, it would be ripped apart no matter how good it is. Cultivators would be ripped apart no matter how strong they were. Hearing this, everyone's face changed except for Su Jingwen and them. Jiling also got up. As the Seaquake space, they might be swept away by the violent space fissures or space dispositions at any time. This power wasn't something human cultivators could defend against. Jilin had gone through a lot and was very calm now. With Blue Moon's speed, they can charge out before being affected. He immediately said, "Don't worry, Blue Moon's speed is enough to charge out of the range. We just need to speed up Blue Moon." As soon as Jiling said this, waves were already 10-meter high. Blue Moon descended rapidly until it was only 1 kilometer from the sea level. Yi Mo, who was planning to speed up Blue Moon, stopped instead and sneered, "This isn't Seaquake, it's a formation of the Beast Cultivator. A very powerful space disruption formation." Yi Mo already saw some Beast Cultivators now. 2 of them were Truth Realization State Level 7 and 1 was Truth Realization State Peak Stage. The rest were Disaster Transformation State or Cauldron Filling State. Even Jiling recognized this was a formation, but before he could say anything he also saw a Beast Cultivator come over. "Ha ha! A Truth Realization State Level 7 Beast Cultivator," laughed Keen Eyes. "You even know a little about my Shallow Sea Palace's Level 10 formation, Tear Sea Formation." Hearing this, Meng Hanan's face changed and was even more scared than before. She said shakily, "Shallow Sea Palace people." Su Jingwen knew Yi Mo's power and wasn't so worried. She subconsciously asked Sister An, "You know about the Shallow Sea Palace?" Meng Hanan calmed down and nodded. Shallow Sea Palace is one of the strongest powers in the Heartless Sea. They're at the place where the Spirit Kai is the densest in the Heartless Sea. How are they compared to the Sea Cultivator Alliance? Yi Ling asked. Meng Hanan smiled bitterly. It's not easy to compare. The Sea Cultivator Alliance is only a power in the border sea. They're a far cry from the overlord of the Heartless Sea. Level 10 formation? Jiling heard this and his face changed. He searched carefully with his spirit sense. Level 10 formation was equivalent to the lowest level immortal formation. This one's something ordinary level 9 formation Grandmaster can set up. Only immortal formation masters can set this up. Yi Mo waved his hand to Jiling. "Jiling Qian Bei, don't worry, this is indeed a level 10 formation disc. This is the second highest level formation disc I've seen, but the formation isn't a level 10 formation. Insolent brats, 2 mere Truth Realization State primary stage cultivators dare to point fingers at our Tear Sea formation. How is this not level 10 formation? Where did you see a higher level formation than this? Full of shit." The Truth Realization State Level 7 said. "The Beast Cultivator sneered, your words made me unhappy. I was just going to keep your flying magic artifact and the women, but now, you can all stay behind." The other Beast Cultivator sealed off Blue Moon's exit path. The Disaster Transformation State Tertiary Stage left behind a formation flag and the shaky space stabled down. Yi Mo sneered, a mere level 10 formation disc already made the formation half a grade lower. With this trash formation master, the formation disk's power is lowered again. If it wasn't that I wanted to stay, do you think this trash formation can stop me? Yi Mo was telling the truth. Level 10 formation disk was weaker than level 10 formation, and with only a level 7 formation grandmaster controlling this, the formation disk's power was much weaker. He really could leave out at any time, but there was two reasons he stayed. One was that although they were interested in his blue moon, he was also interested in the level 10 formation. The second was that he was interested in the extreme grade spirit range powering the level 10 formation disk. The truth realization state level 7 heard this and laughed, releasing a flaming red axe about to attack. That truth realization state peak stage stopped him and looked at Yi Mo in confusion. Yi Mo had a lot of cultivators on his flying, but there was only 2 truth realization state level 1 cultivators and 1 disaster transformation state. The rest were much weaker. He really didn't understand why Yi Mo was so confident. But he really didn't see any fear from Yi Mo's face. The truth realization state level 7 looked at the truth realization state peak stage in confusion. It was clear he was wondering why he wasn't allowed to go. The truth realization state peak stage looked carefully again and didn't find anyone else on Yi Mo's ship. He nodded to the truth realization state level 7 Ku Kang, "Go, be careful." Yi Mo didn't want to fight on Blue Moon and said to Ji Ling, "Brother, help me control Blue Moon and protect the formation." "You have balls." The truth realization state level 7 saw Yi Mo dared to come out and challenge him. Yi Mo didn't say anything and released Zi Shu while expanding his domain. The red flaming axe hacked towards Yi Mo in a red arc. The area 100 meters around it were completely enveloped in this red arc. Countless flames curled out of the arc. The flame had a terrifying heat. Clearly it was a rare flame. Yi Mo was surprised. This was the first time he saw another rare flame cultivation method. However, this beast cultivator used the rare flame cultivation method through his axe. This move was similar to his illusion cloud formation kill strike. Countless flames separated from the arc. The beast cultivator said he didn't take Yi Mo seriously, but he used a powerful move as soon as he came. Clearly he didn't really mean it. Crack. The beast cultivator's face changed and he found that his domain was about to break. What was going on? This was a mere truth realization state level 1 cultivator. As he used more cultivation essence, his domain was about to be repaired, but Yi Mo's domain was always stronger than his. His domain kept breaking, and before it completely shattered, his axe wasn't affected at all. Rumble. Zi Shu's purple sword rays clashed with the red flaming axe. Flames and purple splashed everywhere, rattling the space. However, all those flames were swooped by Yi Mo's purple sword rays. None could escape. The other 2 truth realization state beast cultivator were shook, seeing that the 2 were seemingly evenly matched. A truth realization state level 1 was evenly matched with truth realization state level 7. This wasn't normal at all. The other 2 truth realization state beast cultivator were shook, seeing that the 2 were seemingly evenly matched. A truth realization state level 1 was evenly matched with truth realization state level 7. This wasn't normal at all. At this moment, there was another crack. Everyone else didn't hear it clearly, but Yi Mo and the beast cultivator fighting him did. His domain cracked and the beast cultivator's face changed. If he fell in Yi Mo's domain, even if he didn't get killed, he would be heavily injured. Before Yi Mo could completely extend his domain, his red axe swiped and the flames enveloped by the purple sword rays broke free and instantly condensed into one big flower. As soon as it formed, it turned more than 10 meters long. It smashed at Yi Mo above his head. At the same time he released his axe again, but this time, the axe shadow wasn't aimed at Yi Mo but the hundreds of meters of air around Yi Mo. The beast cultivator clearly wanted to kill Yi Mo before Yi Mo fully expanded his domain. He didn't believe that Yi Mo would be able to escape. With such power, the beast cultivator were cheering. Everyone on Yi Mo's side saw this, but none of them could help Yi Mo. Even if they could, there were 2 truth realization state cultivators watching on the side. Yi Mo sneered. He also instantly expanded his domain. It was many times stronger than when he fought with the beast cultivator. The beast cultivator instantly was bound by Yi Mo's domain. His face changed. He knew he was tricked. Yimo didn't use his domain completely at all before. He only used 1/5. This was his real domain. The axe shadow had gone in Yimo's domain and became slow like a turtle sunk into mud. The huge flaming flower also seemed to be falling down slower. The beast cultivator was shook. He suddenly spat essence blood at the red flower. With this, the flower shone brightly again and its temperature rose up drastically. Even space was distorting in this temperature. Yimo's face changed. He waved Zishu in the air. The beast cultivator wanted to call for help, but when he saw Yimo's face changed greatly. He resisted the urge to do so. He was fighting a truth realization state level 1 insect, and if he called for help, he would have no more face in the future. The other two saw that Ku Kang didn't seem to be in the right state, but he seemed to have the upper hand, so they didn't mind. At this moment, Zishu activated a vibrant purple ray and even the huge flower was immersed by the light. Illusion Cloud Hua Mountain Strike. When the beast cultivator realized that his flaming flower didn't stop the purple ray and it arrived above his head, his face went pale. Not good, he was tricked. Such a cunning human cultivator. He wasn't scared of his flower at all, he acted scared. He immediately wanted to call for help, but it was too late now. Purple ray sliced over his body like it was made of tofu, bringing about a bloody mist. Even his essence spirit was annihilated by the purple ray. At the same time, Yimo picked up a storage ring. This wasn't it. The red flaming flower Wassa instantly put into a jade box by Yimo closing the lid. Yimo slapped on a few restrictions and threw the box in his storage ring. A red Shomai flame. Yimo only needed a few seconds to put it away. He would have plenty of time to spirit control it later. This set of actions was done very smoothly. Clearly he was a professional. Ku Kang. The truth realization state peak stage was about to stare his eyes out. Ku Kang, who had the clear upper hand, was instantly killed moments later. I'm going to tear you apart. The truth realization state peak stage couldn't keep calm anymore and waved a blue shadow in his hand as he charged up. Yimo sneered. He didn't use his full power fighting that Ku Kang at all. He killed one first just in case these guys went to attack Blue Moon. Now that there was only 2 truth realization state cultivators left, he didn't worry at all. Ji Ling could deal with the remaining cultivators. Before the truth realization state peak stage reached Yimo, the blue shadow whipped out tens of small beads. Some were blue, some were white. Yimo felt strange. What cultivation method was this? He immediately released Octagonal Cauldron. It was better to be safe no matter what. As soon as he did, the beads exploded into a waterfall of killing intent. Each bead of the waterfall and killing intent, as though just touching these water beads would mean being torn apart. The space around here were completely squeezed, making Yimo unable to escape. Yimo sighed, so powerful. If it wasn't him, other cultivators would really be unable to escape. There were endless means in this world indeed. But he wasn't scared. His domain had completely expanded out and Octagonal Cauldron's shadow shielded him. Rumble. Octagonal Cauldron clashed with the waterfall, but the sound wasn't of water but metal clashing together. The vibration even made Yimo's meridians rattle a little. The water spark and water arrow was blocked by Yimo's domain again, and not a single drop could enter Yimo's domain. At this moment, Yimo released Zishu too. The waterfall's killing intent didn't affect Yimo at all. The truth realization state peak stage's heart sunk. He realized that they kicked a hard brick this time. He also realized that Yimo was being serious when he said he didn't want to run. But there was no way back now. Just when the beast cultivator was planning to let everyone go up together, space rattled again and the sea roared too. The truth realization state peak stage was furious and stared at the disaster transformation state tertiary stage cultivator controlling the formation Shan Yu, who let you to start the formation. This formation was enough to stop Yimo's flying magic artifact, but not enough to injure a cultivator like Yimo. The next moment, he realized Shan Yu didn't activate the formation. A space disposition appeared at where Shan Yu was tearing him into bloody mist. Even his essence spirit was gone. 1 kilometer-tall wave rose up into the air, and before the wave even hit people, the rattling space flow made the cultivators feeling a powerful suction force. Sea quake. The truth realization state peak stage beast cultivator's face changed drastically. He knew this was a real seaquake, not the power of the formation. He no longer had the will to fight Yimo and immediately released a shield, wanting to dash out of the range of the seaquake. The other beast cultivators realized this too. As a cauldron-filling state beast cultivator was swooped away by Space Fisher, the rest of the cultivator's face went extremely pale. This wasn't something that humans could defend against. So what if your truth realization state peak stage, there was nothing you can do against this sea quake? Yimo's face changed too. He saw Blue Moon rattling in the space as though it would be swooped away by space fishers at any time. Song Yangzhu's face was pale. Yi Ling called out, "Brother, get back here." But Yimo knew there was no difference being on Blue Moon and being outside right now. Blue Moon had a larger volume and was easier to be taken away. Plus, there were some small space fissures between him and the Blue Moon. Who knows if they would explode when he went near them? Yimo put away his octagonal cauldron and yelled to Ji Ling, Ji Qianbei, "Put Blue Moon on full throttle and go back to South Peace State first. I'll come after." "No, I'm going to wait for you to come before I go," Song Yangzhu yelled. Before Yimo could speak, a terrifying roar sounded. A figure that was 1 kilometer tall rose out from the huge waves. Before people could see what it was, a huge claw easily grabbed a disaster transformation state cultivator and crushed him into mince. Before Yimo could speak, a terrifying roar sounded. A figure that was 1 kilometer tall rose out from the huge waves. Before people could see what it was, a huge claw easily grabbed a disaster transformation state cultivator and crushed him into mince. Only then did Yimo see clearly what this thing was. It was a very strange-looking fish. This fish had 2 wings and 4 huge claws. It had golden scales on its body, but the 2 scales on its back was very faint-colored. Magical beast Kuan. Yimo just thought of what this beast was and someone else called it out. Looking at its power, not even multiple truth realization state peak stage were a match for it. Before Yimo could react, the Kuan stopped. It didn't attack the other beast cultivator and instead looked at Blue Moon. Moments later, it made a more terrifying howl. It charged at Blue Moon. Yimo instantly realized what was going on. This Kuan was the one that was hunted before. The 2 scales on its back weren't fully grown and had a faint color. Now, it must sense that Blue Moon has its scale, so it was furious. Realizing this, Yimo released Zishu without hesitation and hacked with Illusion Cloud Hua Mountain Strike with all his cultivation essence. He can't let Kuan grab Blue Moon. If it does, then everyone on it would be dead. After that, Yimo yelled, "Jiangwen, quickly tell Ji Qianbei to control Blue Moon and leave. Get back to Mo Yu City as quickly as possible. You know I can protect myself. The seaquake is spreading. Blue Moon needs to get out quickly." Yimo couldn't speak anymore. He even felt breathing was hard. Ji Ling already started controlling Blue Moon to dash out at full speed. He knew Yimo was right. They wouldn't be able to help even if they were here. Plus, Ji Ling knows Yimo has a small world. There was nothing else they could do. Blue Moon go out wobbly. It was very fast, but in this seaquake space, it couldn't go the fastest. Thud. Zishu's purple beam clashed with the huge claw of Kuan, creating a shocking screeching sound. The rattling space became more violent and some space fissures started to show in this clash, but they quickly healed. Yimo spat a mouthful of blood immediately and flew out. He stopped himself after 30 meters. Illusion Cloud Hua Mountain Strike. If he can't spill the blood of the enemy, he would spill blood himself. This was the first time Illusion Cloud Hua Mountain came back without spilling blood. His strike only left a white mark on the Kuan claw. The other truth realization state level 7 beast cultivator was unlucky and was swept away by Space Fisher. But Yimo didn't have the time to care about them. He didn't even have time to recover as he released Zishu again, swiping at Kuan. He wasn't going to let Kuan leave him to attack Blue Moon. The Kuan ignored Yimo. After knocking him away, it immediately began to chase Yimo. But Yimo's second strike came. It was Illusion Cloud Hua Mountain Strike again. Rumble. Yimo was knocked flying again, but after spitting blood in air, Yimo charged back relentlessly. The truth realization state level 9 saw that Yimo dared to fight a magical beast Kuan that was beyond level 10 with his life. He sweated cold. His shallow sea palace dared to attack someone like this. They must be mad. This was asking for trouble. Another huge wave charged up from the sea, swooping at him. He couldn't watch the battle anymore and quickly retreated, but only after 10 meters, a huge space fisher appeared out of nowhere and devoured him. Yimo's third strike struck the claw of Kuan. Splurge, blood shot out and Yimo took it into a jade bottle without hesitation. Kuan was finally enraged by Yimo now. Yimo hacked him in the same spot 3 times and the third strike made a deep gash in his claw. This wasn't it. This insect cultivator dared to take his blood. He turned around and clawed down at Yimo. Yimo didn't dare to fight head-on with Kuan. He immediately wanted to retreat, but he felt movement was difficult. Even breathing was difficult. Yimo realized that this was Kun's domain. It was natural and much more powerful than the domain cultivator's use. He knew that he can't be bound. If he does get bound, he would be over. He would turn into mince under Kuan's claw. Yimo also expanded out his domain. He released Octagonal Cauldron again. That instant, he broke free from Kuan's domain and used his domain to form a standoff with Kuan's domain. Thud thud thud. Kuan claw Yimo's Octagonal Cauldron. Octagonal Cauldron was sent flying by the claw and Yimo spat mouthfuls of blood again. Yimo's face went pale, but when he found there was a huge space fisher waiting for him, he forcefully changed direction mid-air, barely avoiding it. Crack! Yimo knew that his forced change cracked 2 of his bones. Yimo ate a few pills and Kuan chased over again. Seeing this, Yimo didn't move aside. Instead, he clutched Zishu tightly, waiting to give Kuan a heavy blow when it came. Seeing that Yimo dared to wait for him, Kuan was furious. His speed increased and in less than a second, Yimo was under its claw. It snarled furiously. He was certain this insect was dead now because Yimo had nowhere to run. But when Kuan got closer, it dazed. The insect-human cultivator was gone. It subconsciously looked back. He clearly saw that the human cultivator didn't fall into the space fissure. Why was it gone? Before Kuan could react, Yimo came out of the Golden Page world and hacked Zishu with full power while using countless lightning sword attacks. Yimo was determined to send this disaster into space fissure. Kuan dared to fight Yimo and Blue Moon here because he was very sensitive to space fissure and disposition. Before he could react, the human cultivator suddenly attacked again. This attack was aimed at his eye and there were this many terrifying lightning swords. His eyes were his weakest spot. How could he let the insect cultivator hit it? That instant, Kuan retreated without hesitation. But when he retreated into the space fissure, he realized he was tricked. It roared furiously and sprayed out a blue mist. The blue mist enveloped Yimo and brought him into the fissure. Seeing this, Yimo was shook, but before he could react he was brought in. The terrifying bone-scraping space wind shocked him. He wanted to dash out immediately, but the next moment, he saw that the fissure was gone. Yimo reacted quickly. The fissure was gone. This meant he was inside a void space. With his power, this was suicide. Yimo didn't dare to watch the Kuan at all and went into the Golden Page world immediately. Even if he was to come out, it would be after he figured out what this dimension was. Luckily, Kuan came in here too, and that means it can't go hunt Blue Moon. After settling in the Golden Page world, Yimo threw out a surveillance formation. As soon as the formation disk landed out, Yimo saw a grey world, or space. It was boundless and had no living beings. There were just the occasional asteroids floating past rapidly. As soon as the formation disk landed out, Yimo saw a grey world, or space. It was boundless and had no living beings. There were just the occasional asteroids floating past rapidly. Space wind blades flew in the space flow everywhere, and there were some unknown fine sands floating in the air. As for the Kuan beast, it was nowhere to be seen. The surveillance formation disk didn't last long and was torn apart by a space wind blade. Yimo realized what was scraping his skin and bones. It was these fine sands. Yimo threw out a few surveillance formation disks and every one was torn apart. How can he get out of this place? After a long while, He tried coming out of the Golden Page world wanting to test how powerful the space here was. But as soon as he came out, countless fine sands came striking at him. One fine sand flew over and his armor was sliced apart. He couldn't dodge all those space wind blades at all. There were too many here. Screech. In a short time, Yemo's clothes and armor disappeared and he didn't have a single area of uninjured skin. Yemo wanted to hide into the Golden Page world, but a black sand swiped past his waist. He couldn't even dodge it. Yemo saw a few more black lines coming over. He didn't dare to stay anymore and quickly went into the Golden Page world. If he was slower, he would be dissected into countless parts by these lines. In the Golden Page world, Yemo laid naked and full of injuries. He had gashes everywhere, but he didn't intend to heal himself at all. He thought of that Fang Yizong. How was he able to survive in this space-tearing dimensions? Even if it was using the power of the space transmission rune, it was still very powerful. Yemo was certain that even if he could tear space, he wouldn't be able to get to a place that he could tear space. He was a rather powerful cultivator, and in this void space, there was nothing he could do at all to survive. Just what sort of cultivator would be able to survive in here? This was only the void space of the cultivation realm. If it was the void space of the immortal realm, wouldn't it be more horrifying? Only then did Yemo realize how absurd Chu Jiuyu was. He ripped open dimension from Luo Yu and passed this endless void space, and ripped open another portal to Earth. He not only needed to be able to tear space open but also be able to travel in this chaotic space. This wasn't as simple as staying outside for a bit. He needed to search for the next dimension point for the destination. There would be places where the space wind blades and sands were gathered, but that was fine. However, if the black lines were gathered, who could stop it? Plus there were more space disposition and fissures here. Yemo took a cold breath in. This meant that he had no way out. Even if he can tear space open, he wouldn't be able to find the position to go out. I didn't expect the difference between me and Chu Jiuyu is this huge. Yemo sighed. When he beat Fang Yizong and Yin Shu, he thought that even if there was a gap between him and Chu Jiuyu, it wouldn't be too big, but now, he realized just how much difference there was. But then Yemo thought, if Chu Jiuyu could tear open space of Luo Yu to Earth, why can't he go back from Earth to Luo Yu? It probably wasn't that he didn't want to go back to Luo Yu unless something happened. That was, he knew he didn't have the ability to tear open space a second time. Or, it was a special occasion that he was able to tear open space to Earth. Yemo sat down. He thought of another possibility. Even if he could tear open space, who could be sure that the portal was to Luo Yu? Yemo shook his head. He can't even come out of his Golden Page world, much less tear open space. In this place, perhaps only a cultivator whose body refinement has reached an extreme state can survive. Suddenly, Yemo got up. Body refinement. Didn't he have a body refinement cultivation method? The Wu God chant. Although he can't go out, this was a very powerful cultivation ground, a cultivation ground for Wu God chant. It was incomplete, but he didn't need a complete one. He can use the 3-birth chant to create his own body refinement cultivation method. On the Luo Yu continent, the body refinement cultivators had 9 states, 3 states were master, 6 states were king, 9 states were god. The 3 master states were bone state, gan state, and master state. 3 king states were hollow state, soul state, and king state. The 3 god states were monarch state, disaster state, and god state. There were rarely anyone on Luo Yu continent who went to practice body refinement. It was rare for cultivators to even reach master state. As for king state, they were 1 in a millennium. As for the 3 god states, they were just of the legends. The main reason was that body refinement used up too much cultivation resources, and in battle body refinement cultivators can't beat truth cultivators. The main reason is that body refinement cultivators would only have increased lifespan at king state. Otherwise, even if you reached master state, you had the lifespan of an ordinary person. Usually, it was cultivators who didn't have spirit root who chose body refinement. Plus body refinement cultivation methods were very rare, and there were no high-level body refinement cultivation methods in Luo Yu. If you didn't have spirit root, you wouldn't have large amounts of resources to cultivate body refinement. So you wouldn't be able to reach high levels. High-level cultivators had the resource to practice body refinement, but they didn't even have enough time for cultivation, so no one chose body refinement. Yimo had decided to start body refinement. With the use of 3 birth chant, Yimo was surprised to find that he easily converted the Wu God chant into a body refinement cultivation method. Almost instantly he reached bone state. Was this because he was a body refinement genius, or was it because he was truth realization state cultivator, so the first level was so easy? Or was his first level wrong? Thinking about this, Yimo used his cultivation essence to form a cycle according to the bone state, and soon, there was a light golden aura around him. What shook him more was that his wounds healed without him eating any pills. Yimo felt that golden ray and was certain that this was indeed the first state, bone state. Realizing this, Yimo felt he might be able to reach the king state or even the 3 god states in a short time. Yimo quickly put on some clothes and sat next to the bitter bamboo on the Herb King spirit range. He didn't continue cultivating the second level. He wanted to use 3 birth chant to form the entire new body refinement system first and then cultivate. Yimo had 3 extreme grade spirit range and 1 Herb King spirit range. Yimo had 3 extreme grade spirit range and 1 Herb King spirit range. Although it was too much of a waste to use extreme grade spirit range to power the time formation disk, but he couldn't care at this moment. 1 month outside and 1 year passed in the time formation disk. Yimo used this year to reform the new body refinement cultivation method system. Yimo called it the 3 god body refinement chant. Yimo had never seen body refinement cultivation method and he knew his body refinement system was imperfect. He needed to cultivate and find mistakes inside to perfect the system. When Yimo left the Golden Page world, he had used up nearly half of the extreme grade spirit range. This was so wasteful, and it could only reach 12 times speed. The immortal crystals were so much better, it easily reached 100 times speed. The second level of body refinement was Gan state, forming a barrier of golden kai outside your body. This kai attached to the surface of the body, making it hard like a rock. Even ordinary magic artifact wouldn't be able to break through it. Yimo thought he would be able to reach it shortly, but when Yimo used the 3 god body refinement chant, he found that the second state was completely different to the first. He spent 3 days inside and didn't get any progress. Yimo thought of body refinement because of the chaos flow outside, so now that he had no progress in the Golden Page world, he immediately left. As soon as he came out, the space wind blades with the space chaos flow started to swipe across his body. The fine sands started tearing at his armor. But this time, as soon as his armor was marked, a golden light formed on the surface of his body. The golden body protection cultivation essence came out and the fine sands hit on the golden barrier. A light crack sounded and the golden barrier was torn open, but it started to repair itself under Yimo's cultivation essence. Yimo saw this and rejoiced. This body refinement cultivation method was really good. He only reached the first level and he could last this long. If it was before, he would have long been scarred. The golden barrier broke not because the cultivation method was bad, but because his level was too low. He reformed the barrier and started to cultivate the second level of body refinement, Gan state. In this dangerous environment, Yimo soon felt a difference. He started to repair the weak parts and correct the mistakes. Yimo closed his eyes, he learned state, he could use state to feel the cultivation essence flow and the reorganization of his bones and blood. When Yimo woke up again, he found he had stayed outside the Golden Page world for an entire day. He didn't even need to activate the Gankai and it would repair the golden barrier itself. So this was Gan state, Yimo realized. He didn't go in the Golden Page world and started to cultivate the third state, Master state. When Yimo reached the Master state, he felt no progress. It was like something was missing. 3 days later, Yimo was stuck in Master state. Because he had the experience of the first and second level, Yimo left where he was. He felt the space wind blades and chaos flow, there was too little. He came to a place with more clustered space chaos flow and immediately felt pressure. He felt the fine sands were also more dense here. Even the black lines were more congregated. Moments later, The faint golden barrier was tattered and a space wind blade sliced across Yimo's body, bringing up a bloody mist. Yimo was shook, and just when he wanted to go into the golden page world, he found that the third state's meridian flow suddenly opened, and instantly, his golden barrier formed again. The next wave of space wind blades and black lines came. Yimo's barrier broke again, and when he was covered in wounds, his meridians were unblocked. Yimo immediately realized the way to cultivate three-god body refinement chant. This wasn't cultivation, this was self-abuse. The master state was many times harder than the Gan state, but even so Yimo reached it on the fourth day. He stayed at the same spot for a day and then moved to a place with more space wind blades and chaos flows. He found that this void space was the best place for body refinement cultivation. As Yimo came to densely clustered places, he found a rule. In this void space, spirit Kai wasn't evenly spread. Some places had dense spirit Kai, some places didn't. Some places didn't have spirit Kai at all. The places with more spirit Kai had more space wind blades and chaos flows. Yimo also realized that the most dangerous thing here wasn't the slow-moving chaos flow or wind blades, but the black lines and the swirling chaos flows. The most dangerous was the space-fine sands that Yimo didn't think was very powerful. When densely clustered, it can instantly tear a person into pieces, and the powerful lines and instantly slice a person in half. If Yimo didn't have Golden Page World and the three-god body refinement chant, he would have died more than once. As for the space eddies and space storms, Yimo didn't even dare to go near. Despite so, this place was indeed the best place for body refinement. Yimo suspected that the small world Kong Yi gave Shan Di would be torn apart by the sands here. If some other cultivator wanted to practice body refinement here, he would need to be at least hollow state or above and can't stay in dangerous places to cultivate. Otherwise, he might be killed at any time. Even with Yimo's experience, the body refinement cultivation method and Golden Page World, he was heavily injured more than 10 times. Once he almost lost an arm. Another time, a powerful space blade line almost cut him in half. Luckily, he instantly went into the Golden Page World and saved his life. He went in not because his reaction was fast, but that his sixth sense was strong. If it wasn't that he wanted to go out so he had to cultivate body refinement, Yimo wouldn't risk his life like this. He knew that if he didn't risk his life now, he would need to do so later. Waiting would never result in progress. After countless dangerous times and as his body refinement power is increasing, Yimo got injured less times. Sometimes, he would dash into the Golden Page World as soon as he sensed danger. A month later, Yimo came to a denser place and broke through hollow state, reaching soul state. After that, Yimo finally felt a little safer in here. He didn't need to dodge ordinary space chaos flows. He could easily set up a powerful defense, and that golden barrier fused with his skin. Ordinary wind blades did nothing to him now. His body refinement even progressed towards essence spirit, so his essence spirit had some defense now too. But Yimo knew this was far from enough. His goal was to reach into the three god states. Even the lowest monarch state was enough for him. But Yimo knew this was far from enough. His goal was to reach into the three god states. Even the lowest monarch state was enough for him. In the 4 months in this void space, Yimo gritted his teeth and went into the space whirlpool. He knew that if he didn't fight for it with his life, he would never reach king state, much less monarch state. As soon as Yimo went into the space whirlpool, a powerful space disruption instantly brought Yimo in. In the blink of an eye, Yimo's clothes were torn off. His skin started to crack. Even his soul state body wasn't able to block it for a moment. Compared to these space whirlpools, those black lines, chaos flow, and the sands were nothing. This was really the epicenter of death. Yimo used three-god body refinement chant to the extreme, but still he felt his skin and bones were going to be stripped away. Yimo even wanted to charge into the Golden Page World, but he knew that if he did, he wouldn't be able to reach king state in a short time. Or even if he did, there would be a sliver of fear in his heart. Yimo ate a few pills and the sixth state cultivation method was run at full power. The mistakes were being corrected and his essence blood being purified. His bones, flesh and even essence spirit were being strengthened. 15 minutes later, That tearing feeling was still there, but compared to when he first came in it was completely. Yimo knew if he continued doing this, his king state cultivation method would be perfected. 3 days later, his skin and was still being taken away, and so was his blood. Even his bones were being broken down inch by inch. 6 days later, the loss of blood and skin were very slow, but now, Yimo's entire body was pale due to loss of blood. However, he shut his eyes close and kept weaving hand signs, bringing the broken meridians and the blood to flow in a certain way. It was as though the space whirlpool hurting him didn't exist. 9 days later, the blood on his body had stopped splashing yacht, even his bones stopped breaking. 12 days later, Yimo's wounds gradually started healing. 18 days later, his torn skin started to grow back, but at this moment he suddenly opened his eyes and ate a few pills. At the same time, he broke off a piece of the ICL and ate it. This was his last immortal curl flower. Even when Chu Yun broke her arm, he didn't give her one. He could give her pills and spirit range because he got things from Chu Xiaoyi, but also due to Kong Yi. The immortal curl flower was different. There was no price for this. This was something to save life with. How can he give it to Chu Yun so easily? He gave one to Miao Huizhen because she was guarding them to begin with, so he robbed her. He gave one to Jie Feng because he was no match for Jie Feng. If he didn't give it him, he would rob him. Luckily, Jie Feng didn't and gave him some pills instead. He gave the third one to Ji Ling because Ji Ling was someone he respected and lost his body due to him. But Chu Yun was different. He kept his last remaining immortal curl flower, and now indeed he used it himself. On the 25th day, Yimo's wounds completely disappeared and his skin had recovered, being smoother than before. It was a little darker, but Yimo liked it this way. He didn't want his skin to be too white like a girl's. 28 days later, Yimo's bones cracked and his cultivation essence flowed even faster. This cracking continued for 2 hours. Afterwards, Yimo took a step forward and joy flashed in his eyes. He knew he had reached king state now. He took a step forward and could easily stand in the space whirlpool that destroyed his armor before. As Yimo stepped out more, the space whirlpools even split apart. Yimo howled and used his hands to break the whirlpool. His body was extremely strong now. Yimo could tell that even though his cultivation level didn't increase, the king state body refinement greatly enhanced his cultivation speed. He would only be cultivating faster in the future. At the same time, Yimo sighed. If he knew body refinement was helpful to cultivation, he would have long began doing that. But soon, Yimo realized that it was impracticable. If he wasn't body refining here, he wouldn't be this fast. When he reached king state, Yimo had the feeling that if he wanted to reach monarch state in a short time, he would need to increase his power to truth realization state middle stage. Otherwise, he might not be able to reach monarch state in 100 years. There was definitely some correlation between him reaching king state in 4 months and his cultivation level. In other words, if he was still disaster transformation state, he would at most reach soul state here, or he might die in this space whirlpool. Nevertheless, Yimo didn't want to give up. 5 months had passed and Yimo passed through all the dangers in this space, but there was still no clue to monarch state. The 3 god states were still too far-fetched for him now. Yimo sighed. This was a perfect body refinement place, but he was still truth realization state level 1. If he wanted to reach the 3 god states, he would either have to reach truth realization state middle stage or spend a few decades here. There were still disposition rivers and space storms in here, but Yimo didn't dare to go in there at all. Yimo felt that it would be suicide to go in there without reaching 3 god state. Luckily for him, his king state power was enough for him to survive in this void space. He can even walk around freely as long as he avoided the center of the space storm or those chaos flow rivers. When the space wind blades hit him, they were knocked away. The black lines that almost cut Yimo in half before broken into 2 parts when they hit him. In the Luoyu continent, there had been people who reached king state, but Yimo believed that even if they did, they were a far cry compared to him. One was because that his body refinement cultivation method was birthed from 3 birth chant. Second, was that they didn't have a training ground like this place. Just when Yimo wanted to check where the dimension barriers were at, an ice crystal thing appeared before him. Yimo casually grabbed it and this soft cool sensation passed into his hands. Void Ice Heart Rock. Yimo blurted out. This was a level 10 material. At this imment, Yimo looked at this dull grey space and his eyes lit up. Was he going to get rich here? Half a month later, Yimo found 4-star soul gold. This was level 9 material used to make soul defense magic artifacts. They were very precious too. Yimo also found more than 10 top-grade star sand and 2 extreme-grade star sand. Half a month later, Yimo found 4-star soul gold. This was level 9 material used to make soul defense magic artifacts. They were very precious too. Yimo also found more than 10 top-grade star sand and 2 extreme-grade star sand. Yimo realized that although this void dimension was dangerous, it also had countless treasures. But this wasn't what Yimo wanted. He had enough materials now and just wanted to find a place to tear open the dimension and leave here. Such dense spirit Kai. Yimo stopped suddenly. He felt the dense spirit Kai, but when he stopped he found that he stood at a place with no space wind blades or chaos flow at all. Before, even the place with the weakest spirit Kai had space wind blades and sands, but this place was filled with spirit Kai but had no space wind blades. Yimo stood here for a long time and scanned with spirit sense. He soon found there was no space chaos flow indeed. There was nothing in front as well. This meant that cultivators who hadn't trained in body refinement would be safe here too. Yimo retreated a bit and scanned with spirit sense. He found this was a boundary line. Forward from here was completely safe, but behind here was full of danger. Yimo was shook and scanned his spirit sense out. Instantly, he realized that this place was a formation, a powerful natural formation. There were some human markings here too. He could tell that the natural formation here could stop the chaos flow, but it didn't do a very good job. A formation Grand Master who was even better than him made amendments to it. The amendments immediately made this formation become a powerful tool in blocking the void dangers. Yimo was shook. The formation skills were so high that only immortal formation masters can set this up. The level 10 formation disc he saw was nothing compared to this. Did this mean there was someone living inside here? Someone who was an immortal formation master? Yimo scanned with spirit sense but found it couldn't go very far. At this moment 2 figures appeared in his spirit sense, 2 very fast figures. Yimo saw this and rejoiced. There were people living here indeed and not just one. Yimo quickly chased up and said, "Friends, please hold up." Seeing Yimo chase up, the 2 sped up instead as though they didn't want to see him. Yimo was confused. They were both truth realization state peak stage power. They didn't need to be afraid of him. He was just asking for the way. Thinking about this, Yimo chased up faster. The 2 didn't seem to care about Yimo following them but just sped up faster. 4 hours later, a huge black city appeared in his spirit sense. He would have never expected that in a void space filled with killing intent, there would be a black city. But reality was so, and he saw the 2 cultivators go inside with his own eyes. Yimo was surprised for a moment but immediately followed up. When he came to the door he was shook even more. This entire city was built with void black star rock. That was level 7 forgery material, but soon, his shock became dumbfounded. This city wasn't built, it was forged with void black star rock. Just how much forgery skills were needed to forge a city out of void black star rock? How much time would be needed? A newcomer, a crisp voice sounded. He saw 2 young cultivators sitting at the door of the city. They were both nascent soul state and seemed in their 20s. They were leaning closely together. Behind them was a truth realization state peak stage old man, but he stood behind them as though he was just a servant. At this moment, the 2 truth realization state peak stage Yimo chased were standing together and they seemed worried. The young man with dark skin and long face scanned the 2 and said calmly, "Seeing that you brought back a fat goat, leave 40% of your things." "Yes, young master, you." The 2 truth realization state cultivators rejoiced and took out a stack of ores. Yimo looked at the ores and knew they were found in the chaos void space. Many of them were level 8 or level 9 forgery materials. "You guys can go," the young man said calmly. The 2 truth realization state peak stage seemed to have heard the best news and immediately disappeared into the city. At this moment that young master Yu studied Yimo before frowning. Old Jew, why does this guy look so young? What power is he? The old man said his only truth realization state level 1 power. The reason he's so young is probably because he ate some powerful spirit herb or had some fortune. Hearing this, young master Yu frowned. He's a garbage, a mere truth realization state level 1 cultivator didn't die in the space chaos flow. What good things can he have? That young girl laughed and pinched the young man. Not necessarily. Didn't you hear old Jew say that this person might have some fortune? The young girl pointed at Yi Mo. Truth realization state level 1. Show me your storage ring. Yi Mo scanned the two coldly and old Jew but didn't attack. This was his first time here and he didn't make clear of the situation here yet. At this moment, another truth realization state peak stage cultivator flew over and bowed to young Master Yu and the girl before taking out a stack of ores. Seeing that, young Master Yu nodded and took them. Then he waved his hand and the cultivator flew into the city. Yi Mo realized, these two young people seemed to have very high status in the Black Rock City. Those cultivators who come in must give half of what they find to them. So domineering. These truth realization state peak stage cultivators all needed to listen to the two young cultivators. One could imagine how terrifying the power behind their backs were. Trash, are you deaf? Did you not hear that I told you to bring over your storage ring? The young girl's face went cold. Yi Mo's face went cold and said coldly, why should I give my storage ring to you? Who are you? As soon as Yi Mo said this, a familiar figure dashed past. It was that truth realization state peak stage beast cultivator in the Heartless Sea who stopped him. He saw Yi Mo and a glance of mockery flashed in his eyes and he disappeared in the city. The young man suddenly laughed. Okay, I was just going to take the things I wanted before but now I'm going to take everything. What are you going to do? He scanned Yi Mo scornfully. This is my place. If I want you to hand over something you have to hand it over. A mere truth realization state level 1 cultivator didn't die in the space chaos flow but you dare to defy my order in the Black Rock City. You're asking to die. Yi Mo frowned. He knew that the power of the city wasn't seething he could mess with, so he said coldly, oh, your Black Rock City, then I won't go in. Then Yi Mo turned to leave. He really didn't want to go in now. This city was at most an asylum place in this void space, but he was king state in body refinement. He didn't fear the outside, ha ha ha. The young man laughed. A mere truth realization state level 1 trash, dare to go when you please. Do you think the Black Rock City is a charity? Yi Mo ignored the young man's words. He couldn't even be bothered explaining and was going to charge into the chaos flow space. Yi Mo ignored the young man's words. He couldn't even be bothered explaining and was going to charge into the chaos flow space. Old Jew, cut of his legs, young master Yu sneered. Before the old man moved, the young girl added cut of his ears too, since he's deaf he doesn't need ears. Yes, young master, Princess Chuan. Old Jew said and dashed in front of Yi Mo. Yi Mo was furious. First he didn't go in the city, second he didn't do anything wrong and there was such unreasonable people. Cut off your own legs and ears. The old man said with a bitter face. Yi Mo was so furious he laughed. Bullshit. Then, he realized Zishu. Since he can't avoid the fight he won't hesitate. In this type of world, he didn't need to beg for mercy. Seeing the purple ray, the old man's eyes narrowed. This wasn't something a truth realization state level 1 could use. Killing intent filled up the space tens of meters around the sword ray. A weak cultivator would be killed purely by the killing intent of this purple ray. This old man suddenly felt that this truth realization state level 1 wasn't so easy to talk to. He raised his hand and a black sword ray flashed. A dark as ink lightning sword was released, but the next moment, he felt his body pause. Great completion domain. The old man called out in shock, and before he could break free of Yi Mo's domain, he saw two smaller purple ray fly out of Zishu. The two saw that Yi Mo dared to release his magic artifact and fight with old Jew and laughed again. The young girl pointed at Yi Mo. Brother Yu, no wonder he dares to not listen to us, he's an idiot, haha. Before she finished laughing, she saw two purple sword ray fly over, yet old Jew who protected them couldn't stop that. At the same time old Jew was very shocked too. He didn't believe that people dared to kill young Master Yu in the Black Rock City. This cultivator was even a truth realization state level 1 cultivator. Old Jew burst his cultivation essence and instantly broke free from Yimo's domain. Just when he wanted to block the 2 purple sword rays, he saw 2 red light flash up. The purple sword rays cut off the heads of the 2 nascent soul state cultivators easily. Blood splashed out. The girl still had a laughing expression while the man was full of shock. 2 nascent souls seeped out of the body and wanted to run, but 2 more lightning swords struck and disintegrated the nascent souls. A few cultivators watching this were shook but exclaimed this foreign truth realization state level 1 cultivator was so ferocious. But immediately they left here quickly as though they had never seen this. Clearly they didn't want trouble. Old Jew saw this and his eyes were about to bulge out. He roared and the black sword turned into countless sword veils wanting to swoop Yimo. At the same time, Yimo heard a furious roar, "Who dares to kill my children?" But when the last syllable sounded, it was already at the city gates. Yimo was shook. He was planning on teaching this old Jew a lesson, but he couldn't care about that now. He used mobility magic and disappeared from the city gates. Yimo was already in the upper hand of the battle, so old Jew could only watch Yimo run off. Yimo's 5-element mobility wasn't in initial mastery yet, but it was enough for him to escape out of the city. As soon as Yimo disappeared, a furious middle-aged man came to the city gates. Another beautiful woman and more than 10 truth realization state peak stage cultivators flew here. If Yimo was here, he would be shocked to see so many truth realization state peak stage. They each had an ancient kai and it was impossible to tell old they were. The beautiful woman cried, "By the body of the young master Yu who killed my son, I'm going to melt his bones and burn his soul." The middle-aged man suddenly said, "Sister Yang, don't worry. Even if he escapes to the center of Space Storm, I will bring him back." Then, the middle-aged man looked coldly at the pale-faced old Jew. The old man knelt down and said shakily, "City Lord, Ju Kai is useless and wasn't able to protect the young master and Princess Chuan." The middle-aged man's face went even colder. This means that the cultivator who killed them was a truth realization state peak stage and much more powerful than you. Ju Kai said with a pale face, "No, his only truth realization state level 1, but his domain is in great completion, much more perfect than my domain." I didn't notice this." "Ha ha ha, you didn't notice this." The middle-aged man looked coldly at old Jew. "This means that a mere truth realization state level 1 killed you and Chuan in front of you and left as he pleased, but you can't even stop him for a second." Ju Kai sweated even more and the sweat dripped off his face, landing on the black rock ground. "Is that it?" the middle-aged man asked coldly again. Old Jew said shakily, "Yes, City Lord, I will capture him. Please give me a chance, City Lord." "Give you a chance?" City Lord's voice calmed down instead and looked at the old man in contempt. He waved his hand and a blue flame went out surrounding the old man. He could only make half a howl before he was turned to dust. Not even his essence spirit was left. This was also a mist lotus heartfire, but a blue-colored one. Then, the man said coldly, "A mere trash deserves another chance." Then, the middle-aged man turned to the truth realization state cultivators behind him and said, "No matter where this person came from, since he dares to kill the young city lord at the Black Rock City, he must be brought back. Go out now, no matter who can capture him, I will reward him dearly." "Yes, City Lord." They replied in unison and disappeared at the city gates. The beautiful woman was still crying. The middle-aged man grabbed her hand and said, "Sister Yang, come with me to the Voik Chaos Flow space and bring back that bastard. I will make you happy." The beautiful woman nodded her head and left with the man. At the same time, in a very luxurious palace, another beautiful woman roared to another man, "Yang Feijing, your daughter is killed and you don't even care. Are you a man?" The man's face changed drastically. "What? Chuan was killed? I'm so furious." The man's hands even began shaking. Seeing this, the beautiful snorted in contempt, "I'm going to capture the culprit, you useless garbage." The beautiful figure disappeared in the palace. Then, the man who was shaking with anger got up casually and looked coldly at the direction the woman left, murmuring, "Great, great kill, very great kill." Then, he flew out of the palace slowly. Yimo felt very annoyed while running. Why was it that he always offended those bastards with powerful backgrounds? Yi Mo felt very annoyed while running. Why was it that he always offended those bastards with powerful backgrounds? Lightning Cloud sect Tian Aofeng, Infinity sect Yuan Guannan and some Tong Hai cult Yong Wuzi and Yong Yue. Yi Mo didn't even know how many of these people he had offended, but he knew this was related to his character. If it was some other cultivator, he probably would have handed up his storage ring. But he wasn't going to, he had too many good things inside. If he was going to transfer it, perhaps the truth realization state old man would notice and his golden page world would be exposed. Plus, even if he didn't have any good things, he wouldn't give his storage ring unless there was no other way. After a while, Yi Mo stopped. He believed that those Black Rock City people wouldn't be able to chase up to him in this void chaos flow city. He was king state body refinement power, and with this speed who could catch up to him? But Yi Mo stopped for less than 15 minutes and few multiple extremely powerful cultivation essence wave scan over. Yi Mo was shook. Clearly this was truth realization state peak stage power. With this many people all coming towards his direction, it was obvious they were coming at him. How were there so many masters in the Black Rock City? Yi Mo didn't understand. Even if they were masters, how could they move so fast in this void? Clearly they were all experienced in body refinement. Yi Mo knew that even though he had left so early and was still caught up, it was pointless to run. However, he had to keep running. If he stayed here and got surrounded, he would be dead for sure. No matter how absurd he was only a truth realization state level 1 cultivator. Just when Yi Mo wanted to change a direction to run, he heard a voice not far ahead say, "Follow me, this way." Yi Mo was shook. This voice was so close to him but he didn't even notice it. If this person didn't speak to him, he wouldn't be able to notice even till now. But Yi Mo knew this voice probably had no ill will, otherwise, he would have been ambushed already. Realizing this, Yi Mo headed towards the direction of the sound without hesitation. Moments later, he saw the person making the sound. He was hiding behind the space chaos flow, no wonder he couldn't see him before. This person looked skinny and black, there was some moustache on his chin, he wasn't very handsome but he had distinctive features. The man immediately said to Yi Mo, "Don't turn back, come with me now. If you fall into those bastards' hands you will die for sure." Yi Mo saluted with his fists. "Thank you friend, I'm Yi Mo." The man nodded. "I'm Di Shueming. This isn't the place to talk, let's leave first." Then, the black skinny man turned and Yi Mo saw his figure fading. Yi Mo followed quickly. 8 hours later, the man stopped by a space whirlpool and closed his eyes for a long while before opening them. "It's fine now, they have lost track of us." Yi Mo quickly asked, "I've left that much earlier, how do they know my tracks? And what is this place?" Di Shueming studied Yi Mo and said, "You're very amazing, you're only truth realization state level 1 but you can come into the void fissure and survive till now. Pity, with your age, if you didn't fall into void fissure you can easily ascend into the immortal realm at any realm." Yi Mo didn't answer to this. Di Shueming said again, "The cultivators living here call this place void fissure. It's a void space between two realms. If nothing special happens, those who come here can't go out and will stay here till they die." "What? You can't go out?" Yi Mo asked. Di Shueming nodded. "I'm not lying to you. I'm truth realization state peak stage but I've been stuck here for nearly 600 years. So don't think about going out." "Wait, I heard people can tear open dimensions. If you tear open dimension here you would be able to go out?" Yi Mo asked in confusion. Di Shueming sneered. "Even if you have the power to tear open space you can't go out in here. Those masters who tear open dimensions tear open the void space between two realms and can go to another realm. But there's another possibility, and that is the position you tear open the space is wrong and you encountered a void fissure. Once you go in, you would never be able to find the dimension spot and thus would never be able to go out. Of course, there aren't a lot of cultivators who can tear open dimensions, most were unlucky and fell into void fissure." Then, he saluted with his fists. "Brother Di, I saw 5 or 6 truth realization state peak stage cultivators at the city gates. How do they have so many truth realization state peak stages?" Di Shueming laughed. "That's called a lot. I'll be honest with you, There's about 100k truth realization state cultivators in the Black Rock City. At the peak, there were about a few 100,000 of them. Look, I'm a truth realization state peak stage. Plus, aren't all the truth realization state cultivators you see truth realization state peak stage? Oh, you're an exception. I really don't get how a truth realization state level 1 can live to find Black Rock City and offend them. You're quite amazing. Yimo was completely shocked. More than 100k truth realization state peak stage cultivators in Black Rock City. This was too absurd. What level city was this? Level 11? After a long while, Yimo asked in shock, how can there be so many truth realization state cultivators in Black Rock City? Are there this many people falling into space fissures accidentally? Di Shueming said sadly, because most cultivators were scammed. They came from their respective realms, and when they were about to ascend into the immortal realm, they found they couldn't get in at all. When they wanted to go back to the cultivation realm, they found they couldn't go back, so they were all trapped here. You can say that they've been abandoned by the Heaven Tao. Di Shueming looked at the endless void fissure and chaos flow before sighing. They had great joy and hopes of ascending into the immortal realm to seek a higher cultivation state, but what greeted them wasn't that. It was endless void chaos flow, wind blades, and sandstorm. Yimo took a cold breath in. He thought of the big seal in the west extreme state Sand River that stopped all cultivators from ascending into the immortal realm. He didn't expect that other realms that allowed immortal ascension were stopped halfway. Was there a huge seal in the immortal realm blocking all those cultivators wanting to ascend into it? Thinking about this, Yimo looked at Di Shueming. Brother Di, are you too? Di Shueming nodded. I'm also a cultivator abandoned by Heaven Tao. I came from Shenqiong cultivation realm. You think 100k truth realization state peak stage is a lot? No, this is very little. Only one in a few would be able to survive in the space fissure and find the Black Rock City. Those cultivators trapped here can only increase their lifespan every day in hopes of breaking into the immortal realm during their lifetime. Even if they can't go into the immortal realm, they would be willing to go back to their cultivation realm, but the fact is, over the countless years, no one has succeeded. Di Shueming didn't seem to want to talk about this anymore and looked at Yimo with curiosity. You're a truth realization state level 1 cultivator, and it's already a miracle that you survived in the void fissure. I really don't get how you offended the guards of Black Rock City and they even sent people after you. Yimo patted his head in frustration. Because I killed a young Master Yu and a woman called Princess Chuan. What? Di Shueming exclaimed in shock. Di Shueming pulled Yimo and said, let's quickly go. You actually offended the Black Rock City's Hades City Lord. Even if we escape to here, he will catch up to us. Di Shueming pulled Yimo and said, let's quickly go. You actually offended the Black Rock City's Hades City Lord. Even if we escape to here, he will catch up to us. Yimo approved highly of this Di Shueming's running capabilities, so he listened to him without hesitation, following him into the void again. On the way, Yimo realized that Di Shueming's body refinement skills were even higher than his. He was at the monarch state. The wind blades didn't affect him at all. He even dashed into some space whirlpools without hesitation. After 5 days, Di Shueming took Yimo to a dark red place. The space wind blades here were extremely hot. Even though Yimo was king state body refiner, the wind blades hurt him a little. Di Shueming stopped here and panted. No matter how powerful the Black Hades is, he won't be able to find here. Then, he raised a thumb at Yimo. You're ballsy, you dare to even kill that old guy's son. Luckily you didn't see his other son, or you would have probably killed them both. Those 2 bastards, they were born by his wife. They're very spoiled but can't cultivate to higher cultivation states, so they dominate the Black Rock City. If I was there, I wouldn't be able to resist the urge to kill those bastards. Brother Di, have you never been in the Black Rock City? Yimo asked in shock. He had the Golden Page world and thus could survive here. Di Shueming didn't have that. Di Shueming smiled. I've been living here for a few 100 years. My body refinement has reached monarch state, so I'm fine. Now I realize why you're fine in here as a truth realization state level 1. You're a body refinement cultivator too, and you've reached the king state. This is quite good. Yimo asked in confusion. Brother Di, are there a lot of body refinement cultivators in the Black Rock City? Yimo thought it was very substantial that he reached king state in body refinement cultivation. Di Shueming nodded. This void fissure has no other benefits but providing a good body refinement environment. Almost all Black Rock City cultivators would come here for body refinement. Even the weakest truth realization state cultivator in Black Rock City can reach the hollow state. There's tens or even hundred of monarch states. As for the Hades City Lord, I suspect he has reached the god state. No wonder that guy is this fast, they're all body refinement masters. Yimo sighed. Di Shueming shook his head. They can chase up to you not because they're body refinement masters but because you've been leaving marks on the way. They can easily catch up to you. I was very careful and didn't leave any marks. Yimo said in confusion. Di Shueming said that's because you've just come here and you don't know the things here. The chaos flow, sand and wind blades have a certain rule to their density. When you run you definitely choose places with less chaos flow and wind blades, and the places you go past will have a faint mark. These marks won't disappear for a long time and they can track you with that. Hearing this, Yimo's back was sweating cold. He didn't know the situation here. If Di Shueming didn't teach him this, he would have been surrounded and killed. Di Shueming continued. I took you on the path that won't leave marks. These paths would have denser chaos flow or sand and thus the marks would be instantly washed away. After a while we can escape their tracking. But the Black Rock City Lord is different, his spirit sense is very powerful, so we had to run a second time. Yimo saluted with his fists to Di Shueming. Thank you Brother Di for saving my life. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even know why I was killed. Did you offend the Black Hades too? Di Shueming shook his head. I didn't offend him, I offended a woman, a very beautiful woman. Di Shueming said the most powerful cultivator in the city is called Black Hades Suo Anshan. The most beautiful woman is Shu Qingfei, the wife of a vice city lord Shatar. She seems very conservative on the surface but is secretly having an affair with the city lord Suo Anshan. Seeing this, I didn't really care, but this woman stopped me many times wanting to have sex with me. How can I accept a shameless woman like her? I rejected her many times. One time, I was really annoyed and I cursed at her. Due to this, I completely offended her and couldn't survive in the city. But due to that, my body refinement reached monarch state. Yimo was in disbelief. Shu Qingfei was the #1 beauty of the city. How can she be interested in the black and skinny Di Shueming? Di Shueming was a little annoyed being stared at like that by Yimo. Do you think I'm old, dark and skinny so no women would like me? I'll telling you the truth, if I was interested in that woman, I would have fucked her already. Pity, I hate such shameless woman the most. Yimo sighed. But that vice city lord isn't having a good time then. Di Shueming sneered. You think he doesn't know? He knows. There are some things I don't want to know but I happen to know. Shatar is just as bleak as Black Hades. If I'm right, Princess Chuan isn't his daughter, it's Black Hades' daughter. Shatar knows this but he doesn't stop Suo Yu and Princess Chuan being together. Yimo was speechless. This Black Rock City was too disgusting. Di Shueming pointed at the dark red whirlpool ahead and said that's the place I reached monarch state. If you want to you can go in there to cultivate. Yimo shook his head. I can't go in there to cultivate yet. Plus, what I want to do the most isn't to reach monarch state but to leave this void fissure. I must leave, I can't stay here. Di Shueming looked at Yimo in contempt. Yimo, who doesn't want to leave here but no one has even been able to leave. So I suggest you to give up. Yimo said firmly. I have to leave here no matter at what cost. Sensing Yimo's resolution, Di Shueming didn't scorn at him and fell silent for a long time. If you have to leave, there's one way but there's a 99% chance you will die. Old Black, tell me, where is it? Yimo grabbed Di Shueming in joy. Di Shueming patted Yimo's shoulder. Yimo, it's not that I'm underestimating you but with your current power, you probably won't live at all. If you don't reach the 3 god states it's pointless to tell you anyways. Di Shueming said again. Don't worry, I have a place and you can come with me to practice body refinement. I can assure you to reach 3-God state in a short time. Before Yi Mo can reply, a bleak voice said, "Pity, you guys won't have that opportunity." A bleak-faced middle-aged man came before them. "Suo Anshan." Di Shueming called out in shock and said to Yi Mo, "You're going to kill me." However, he released a dark yellow magic artifact. It was a huge seal. Yi Mo watched this Suo Anshan. He seemed to be truth realization state peak stage, but when Yi Mo watched closely, it wasn't just truth realization state peak stage. But Yi Mo couldn't tell exactly what he was. Yi Mo released Zishu without hesitation. Seeing this, Suo Anshan was so furious he laughed, "Haha, you have balls. It's been some time since I saw someone who dares to use magic artifact in front of me." Di Shueming didn't answer, but his yellow seal already smashed down. When it was first released, it was only the size of a dot, but when it appeared above Suo Anshan's head it grew into a large yellow halo. Di Shueming didn't answer, but his yellow seal already smashed down. When it was first released, it was only the size of a dot, but when it appeared above Suo Anshan's head it grew into a large yellow halo. Despite just being a halo, it gave people the feeling of being extremely heavy. Yi Mo suspected that if it landed, even a truth realization state peak stage cultivator would be smashed into pulp. Meanwhile, Suo Anshan didn't use any magic artifact and just grabbed at the seal with his hand. Before his hand even touched the seal slowed down until it stopped completely. So powerful, Yi Mo wasn't at Suo Anshan's power level, but he had keen eyes. Suo Anshan's domain had reached a level of extreme mastery. He didn't even need to intentionally use it. Any target he wanted to attack would be affected by his domain and slowed down. Di Shueming was using his seal at full power. He wanted to self-destruct his magic artifact while Suo Anshan attacked it. He knew Suo Anshan's power. If he didn't give up his seal, he and Yi Mo wouldn't have any opportunity to run. As for Yi Mo, Di Shueming didn't expect him to be able to help at all. A truth realization state level 1 might be able to get away from some other truth realization state peak stage if he was smart or had some ability, but that truth realization state peak stage definitely didn't include Suo Anshan. He was beyond truth realization state peak stage. No truth realization state peak stage can get an advantage over him. So, Di Shueming had intended to self-destruct his most precious magic artifact right from the beginning. No matter how precious magic artifact was, it wasn't as precious as life. When he ran, if Yi Mo was smart, he would be able to get away. If Yi Mo wasn't smart, there was nothing he could do. He would have to leave first, as the opportunity would slip away quickly. But at this moment, Di Shueming's face changed. Before his seal was fully activated, it was bound by Suo Anshan's cultivation essence or domain. He can't even take it back, much less self-destruct it. Despite taking Suo Anshan very seriously, Suo Anshan was still far stronger than Di Shueming expected. He was weaker than a disaster transformation state to Suo Anshan. The moment the two fought, Yi Mo knew that he and Di Shueming combined was no match for Suo Anshan. This person was beyond truth realization state peak stage. So the moment Di Shueming's seal was stuck, Yi Mo attacked with Zishu, Illusion Cloud Domain Shatter Strike. Yi Mo's domain was very powerful already, but he knew that his domain was nothing compared to Suo Anshan. There was nothing else Yi Mo could help with other than Illusion Cloud Domain Shatter Strike. Insect. Suo Anshan saw Yi Mo attack his fist with a purple kitchen knife and sneered. He could tell this knife was quite substantial, but it wasn't enough to deal with him. Di Shueming shook his head speechlessly too. He tried to underestimate Yi Mo, but he realized he still overestimated him. Was he trying to give Suo Anshan a scratch this way? But moments alter, Di Shueming's eyes bulged, not daring to believe what he saw. The knife was at most a purple ray, but when it expanded out, it turned into a purple beam tree that emitted countless purple sword rays from it. What sword technique was this? Di Shueming looked at the purple beam that his spirit sense couldn't scan into. Suo Anshan was a little surprised, but before he could react, they all heard a crack. Di Shueming felt the pressure on his seal ease and rejoiced. He just realized that Yimo's strike broke open Suo Anshan's domain. Then, he inserted more cultivation essence into the seal, smashing down at Suo Anshan. He wanted to fight Suo Anshan with Yimo. The purple sword rays soon dissipated and only Zishu was left. Yimo's heart sunk. This was one of his strongest illusion cloud moves. Usually, after breaking the domain, it would automatically turn into another illusion cloud move. But after he broke the domain, it dissipated. He used his move at full power while Suo Anshan's domain was just used very casually. Suo Anshan was furious that this Di Shueming dared to keep attacking him. He waved and 12 aqua beads were thrown out and his power rose drastically. Ripples were seen in the air. Di Shueming and Yimo were trapped by these ripples and could barely breathe. Di Shueming and Yimo's face went really bad. They just realized this was Suo Anshan's real domain. Ordinary cultivators can't even move in this. Such a powerful domain. The 12 beads formed a semicircle and immediately, countless lightning arcs were released. However, they didn't attack Yimo and Di Shueming. Instead, they circulated around the 12 beads. The more they did so, the bigger the beads grew until they were basket-sized and were still growing larger. Di Shueming's face changed again. His seal was bound again and much firmer than before. He finally realized why Suo Anshan was able to become the city lord amidst the countless truth realization state peak stage cultivators in the Black Rock City. The 12 beads howled and moments later formed a whirlpool each. These whirlpools soon connected together, encompassing Yimo and Di Shueming. If the lightning whirlpool exploded, they would be turned to dust. Yimo's heart sunk. He found that together with Di Shueming, they can't even beat half a Suo Anshan. He was too powerful. The only thing they could do was hack open his domain and run away. This bastard is a lightning-style cultivator and he's this powerful. No wonder no one dares to defy him in the Black Rock City. Di Shueming cursed. Yimo expanded his domain but didn't dare to fully activate it. He knew this wasn't Suo Anshan's full power, not even half. He probably wanted to take them back alive. If Suo Anshan knew his domain was in great completion and he could break free, then Suo Anshan might attack with full power. He would have to try to escape before Suo Anshan knew all of his cards. Yimo said quietly, his isn't a lightning element cultivator, his 12 beads are strange. It can be used to activate lightning element attacks, and I'm certain there was a lot of people against him in the Black Rock City, but he killed them all. Which truth realization state peak stage didn't have their own pride? No matter how powerful Suo Anshan was, he couldn't have controlled the entire Black Rock City at the start. Di Shueming nodded. I know this, but how do you know he isn't lightning element cultivator? Yimo didn't answer. He was lightning element cultivator too. He wanted to rob these 12 lightning orbs and give it to Ymo in the future. Just when Di Shueming wanted to keep talking, he suddenly felt his body ease up. He immediately saw an invisible circle expand out from Yimo. He checked with his spirit sense and immediately realized this was Yimo's domain. His face was full of shock. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.